Man, it is getting pretty reckless around here. This is becoming a very fun basketball season and some ceilings that may get challenged in just a little bit. Uh, for those watching and wondering where Jonathan Macker is, my name is Andrew Claudio, GMAC. That is Mensa, more like Mensa Smith. We are filling in for Macri on a back-to-back, something that NBA teams do sometimes. And what a perfect night to overreact, Mensa, because the New York Knicks have won 8 games in a row. The New York Knicks are 14-2 since the OG Anunoby trade. They just completed a 14-2 January, which ties their best month since 1995. And Mensa, I want to get your quick 30-second thoughts before we may need to do something special to start the show. So Mensa, first of all, how are you and how are your vibes after this victory?
I just want to shout out OG Anunoby because the number of the night is 8. OG Anunoby wears jersey number 8, and we have just won 8 games in a row. Jalen Brunson is this team's executive chef, but tonight the specials menu was brought to you by Carbone DiVincenzo, Dante Il Mulino, 33 points. He was in that kitchen, and he was chefing up something wicked. This is a great time to be a New York Knicks fan, maybe the best time in my fanhood. I mean, this is just, I'm really happy because we are currently sitting in third place by ourselves tonight. And we don't know if Embiid is going to play. So we might have distance on third place by the end of the night. And man, oh man, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than I am in a great place. The vibes are excellent.
The vibes are indeed excellent. And you know how, like, when John's usually on here, he's always trying to stay measured and like, okay, worst case scenario, I'll sign up for the 6th seed or some thing he said last night. And it was like, you know what, I'll sign up for 500 the rest of the year because then that guarantees 48 wins, right? I have to say that part of the beauty of what this season is becoming is that it appears that hearts can grow 3 sizes because, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the KFS postgame show, Mr. Jonathan Macri, who texted me right before we went on. Do you have something you would like to say, sir, about your exciting basketball team that, as Mensa said, is sitting alone in third place in the Eastern Conference?
First of all, hello, guys. Hello, Mensa. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Great to see you, John.
It's great to see you too. I did text you. I texted you midway through the fourth quarter, and I was like, "Can I just give me a couple minutes at some point? I don't care. At the end of the post game, beginning of the post game, whatever." I have to say 2 things. One, I went to my first game in the end of the 92-93 season. So that means, doing some quick math, that I'm old, and I'm really fucking old. And I've been watching this team for a long time. This right now, right this moment, is up there with the 99 playoff run for me as the most fun, as just the most joy, as the most like proud I have ever been to be a fan of this team. And look, there's been a lot of lean years in there, right? So it's like, you could look at it and be like, yeah, it's Slim Pickens, but at the same time, like, we've had 12-13, we've had Insanity, we had the We Here season, we had last year. There were a lot of years in the 90s where I didn't quite have a full appreciation for what we were watching because I was a new fan, but still, I think I appreciate it to some extent. This is up there right now with what this team is doing and how they've been built, and I can't wait to listen to you guys talk about that. And the second thing is just, yeah, I think I'll take that trip out the window.
He has jumped out the window, ladies and
Embrace
gentlemen.
it.
We got him, folks. We got him. Proud of you, John. I'm proud of you for bracing your inner Jeremy Cohen. We got you on the jumbotron, sir.
I feel like they've earned it when Colin Sexton. Man, good luck getting to sleep tonight, Colin. When Colin Sexton poked the bear in the first quarter, and this team, to respond where they're like, "Oh, that's what we're doing. That's what the assignment is." Okay, and you just, it's like, all right, we're just gonna outscore you by 30 over the next, couple of quarters. And they did it like it was nothing, and they're doing it with 7 guys, whatever it is. I don't know how you are supposed to look at this team and not say like they could beat anyone in any series at any time. They've earned that respect. They've earned the right for us to think about them in that way. Not to say that they're a perfect team. They're not. They need their guys back. They need everybody healthy. But it's. I mean, I'm happy I don't have to do the post game tonight, frankly, because I don't have the words, and I'm happy. I'm thankful that you guys get to try to find the words because it's just what we're watching right now. It's just really special, and I want to echo something. And the last thing, and I'm gonna go. Echo something that DJ Zulo just tweeted out. Whether you're a fan that's been a fan around for 70 years or 7 years, I just hope everybody appreciates what they're watching right now because this is a team that, for I don't know how many possessions there were in this game, like they defended every possession defensively in this game like it was in Game 7 of the freaking NBA Finals. Like maybe with a couple of exceptions, but they're just. I mean, they're giving it everything. And that's what I think if you're a true New Yorker and you go through the grind and you make it in this city where it's as tough to make it as anywhere, but at the same time, you're rewarded if you put in the work ethic. That's why we want what we want from our basketball team. If you're watching this team do what they're doing right now, it has to feel special. And I'm sorry to hijack the show. I just needed to come on here and say my piece, and now I'm going to go away and I'm going to try to write a newsletter about this.
No, I'm glad you came on and said your piece. Also, your boy is coaching his ass off this week. I would have loved for 3 fewer minutes at the end, but we got to take him with his warts and all. By the way, did you see his doppelganger tonight?
I did. I saw the tweet. You said,
right, yeah. Look at this. You got Tibbs, and then you got like hipster Tibbs in the top left.
Yeah, maybe his cousin. We don't know that. Maybe his family comes to watch the games.
Tibbs and Hibbs.
Tibbs and Hibbs. I kind of like it.
Shout out to him. We got to get him on the pod sometime.
No, let's get that. Let's get that in there.
Thank you, John. Enjoy your journey out the window. We will be also. We're already out, so
yeah, I know.
We appreciate. Welcome to the party, pal.
Anytime.
There you go, Jonathan Macker, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Mensa. That was like. I feel like we just saw a miracle happen in this. Not just that the Knicks were able to win this game without Julius Randle, without Precious Achiuwa, but like Jonathan Macker has joined the reckless side of things. How do you feel?
In the summer of 2022, the New York Knicks took what I believe is $122 million and paid a lot of money for a miracle, but between the 104 that we gave to Jalen Brunson and the 18 that we gave to Isaiah Hartenstein, this New York Knicks team has become just a different level, like a different tier of a team. Like what we're seeing this offense do with Jalen Brunson, who by the end of the night is probably going to be top 10, and I think he's already top 10 in offensive VPM, with a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein who's still kind of like looking wobbly out there, going out there. And I think he grabbed 3 steals and 1 block, 12 rebounds. Like just what we're seeing from those two gentlemen and how everybody else is allowed to play in their certain role. Like it's so heartwarming to see the way this team plays together, because a lot of times as a Knicks fan, you can go back to a myriad of seasons and you would see a team that you felt you cared more about the games they were playing than they were actually playing. That's not the case anymore, because first, Tom Thibodeau has done an excellent job coaching this team. And there are games where just think about how many seasons this team would have come out flat on the second half of a back-to-back, especially because they traveled up from Charlotte. They just got the win. Nobody came out with that energy. They were missing some shots early on. Sure, that's not a problem, but they committed. They played the ball. They continued to just be the team that we love, care, and appreciate, right? And a team like Utah that embarrassed us the first time we played them. Like, let's just be honest. It was an embarrassing act. RJ Barrett had the worst game probably of the season. He's not here anymore, but it was not what you wanted to see. The team looked stagnant. They looked stuck in the mud. And it feels like they remembered that tonight, because Colin Sexton probably started chirping, talking about maybe what he did the first time they played. And they were like, oh yeah, watch this. And then Dante DiVincenzo went straight into the kitchen. And the good thing about DiVincenzo kind of had a Klay Thompson effect on a prime Klay Thompson effect on Jalen Brunson, because when Klay Thompson would get hot, the entire Warrior, Steph is hot, everybody else is hot, and then DiVincenzo gets hot, and then it just opens up the floodgates, and that's really encouraging to see that this team, when it's losing one of its best scorers in Julius Randle, that Josh Hart can go out there and grab you a triple-double. The Precious Achiuwa can fill in and give you 18 points. The Dante DiVincenzo can give you a 33. That Jalen Brunson can remain Jalen Brunson. Even Isaiah Hartenstein with a double-double. Everybody played well tonight. And especially the starters. The starters were excellent. And I just think that when you watch this New York Knicks team, you don't have to worry about, will these guys try? Because they will try every night. And we are at a place where Leon Rose put a roster together that if this team is trying, we're already more talented than 70-80% of the league, because look, this is a 3 seed right now, top 10 record in the NBA, excellent net rating. I think their Pythagorean wins is higher than their actual wins. It's great to see what this team has become. They play together and they play a beautiful brand of basketball, not just on the defensive end, but on the offensive end. They are selfless since the Anunoby trade. They are making their shots, and just the way it's hard to find the words other than sometimes you're just awestruck watching these guys play, because like, is this the team that we grew up with? Is this the team that we had to watch Alexei Shved and Langston Galloway and Lou Amundsen and Travis Ware and a whole bunch of guys that came through this program? And now it feels like, even though there is probably going to be some more upheaval in the roster, it feels like who's going to be here long term. And that starts with Jalen Brunson, who continues to be the rock of this team, continues to be the ace. He continues to be our A1, our 1A. And the last time we'll ever see number 11 worn in the blue and orange. Jalen Brunson is just continuously awesome. You can go ahead.
You got that right. And so I got to give a quick shout out to Joey Doyle, who just spoiled one of the notes I had written down. And it was going to be a shout out to you in the super chats. It's from Joey Doyle. I'll read this one first, so you get yours. Even though you submitted yours last, you get yours first. The first note I wrote down was that on Casual Friday, the last one that was recorded, because the Knicks keep playing on Thursdays, you predicted the Knicks would have no more than 3 losses this month, or it was 2 or 3 losses this month.
I set the line at 2.5 and took the under, so the Knicks would have no more than 2.
Guess what? They went 14-2, and the 2 losses, Mensa, they're 2 Josh Hart rebounds away, because Josh Hart wasn't in the game because he was playing poorly. Like, if they get a rebound against Dallas, I thought they were coming back and winning. And the second one didn't have Jalen Brunson, and it still involved a Knicks fourth quarter collapse. Like, that's what it took to beat the Knicks this month. They destroyed the Philadelphia 76ers. They destroyed the Denver Nuggets, the 2 teams that have the 2 MVP frontrunners at the moment.
They also destroyed the Miami Heat, our boogeyman. They took them behind the woodshed.
Sent them into Siberia. Like, the reports coming out of Miami of what's wrong with that team and like the end of the run that it feels like is occurring. Regardless, like to the mood and the vibes that are currently around this team, why I think it's so cool that we're hyping this win over a Utah team that was on the second night of a back-to-back where Lauri Markkanen was off, and like they beat the really undisciplined, and I'm not even saying it's on Steve Clifford, but like that's a bad basketball team they played last night in Charlotte. It's 2 back-to-back wins. Like, we used to think that the reason that the Knicks had to go so heavy and so intense in their rotations and like and because they weren't able to match with talent, right? And what they've been able to do the last few nights is show, like Jericho Sims can give you solid minutes. Deuce McBride can give you solid minutes. What they've turned Precious Achiuwa into, my goodness, what he's been over the last 5 or 6 games. And like this is kind of the story of what this Leon Rose Tibbs era of the Knicks has been. Jalen Brunson leaves the Mavericks as like a sidekick to Luka. Everybody calls him an overpaid a player that got $100 million without ever making the All-Star team. And now, my goodness, like the superstar conversation is over. The Knicks have one. His name is Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle just released by the Lakers to go play for the Pelicans for a year, and then just kind of walks to the Knicks as a consolation prize to not getting Katie and Kyrie. might make his third All-Star team on Thursday. Donte DiVincenzo signed for the mid-level exception. And like you said, has Klay Thompson impact on certain nights, shooting near 50% from three-point land since joining the starting five. Although, remember how tall you are, is all I'm going to say. I know we were joking on Twitter today that, like, just remember how tall you are. Your accuracy somehow gets better the further away from the rim you are. Like Josh Hart, like we get annoyed with his shooting sometimes and his pump fakes. The Josh Hart things, when they're working, are so good, and they help this team like get buckets. The thing that the notes I had written down for most of the night were like, they're not shooting the ball well, and Utah's doing a good job of getting like make it so that Jalen Brunson can't take over, and the Knicks are still winning. Like between the offensive rebounds, the defense causing points, and the transition points that they were getting, and the fact they're just not turning the ball over. Like, this was very much an organizational win, in like the organization committing to a style of player that you get. And then Tibbs, just like all the Tibbsy stuff that we usually see from this team, just contributing to a win where like Quentin Grimes gets hurt and like Hartenstein's on a minutes limit, and you're without OG and Randall. And man, Mensa, like I'm kind of there. Like, I'm not sure we need to keep looking to the summer as like, well, then we'll be contenders. That's if we want a stat pad, we'll go get another superstar. This team as is pretty great. Let's just kind of start with DiVincenzo if you want to, and just like what he's been this season and what he was tonight. Finished with, I believe, 33 points.
33 points, nine made three-pointers.
Yeah,
which is
9 of 15 from three, a career high, 11 of 22 from the field after 28 last night. So we had a bet in one of the KFS group chats that like Fred was in it, and we asked like who's gonna be second on the Knicks in usage, and John said DiVincenzo. I said it would be OG. Jeremy said it would be someone who the Knicks trade for. Benji said Deuce. Fred said Deuce. John's the early clubhouse leader in that. Well, just like the point guard is able, like the other point guard is able to
like Deuce.
Get the highest usage. I mean, Tibbs sees one thing go wrong and he pulls him, but like, so regardless, it's a usage conversation. So like DiVincenzo through 2 games of no Julius Randle, I mean, it looks pretty good to me, Mensa. I'll just say that. It looks pretty good so far.
I mean, can we say that Jalen Brunson and Donte DiVincenzo may be the best backcourt we've had in decades?
I saw the question you asked on Twitter.
Like, how many decades?
Like, you know what? Is that crazy to say? This has been a front court team for the majority of my life.
Are we talking about 3 decades ago? Are we talking about 5 decades ago? Like, these guys are really great. And I think you touched on a really good point about Donte DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson essentially being free agent signings. How many teams? And okay, so what I want to say is the New York Knicks, we know and has been reported that they have spent more money on their analytics department than any other team in the NBA. And that in a salary cap league, when you're New York, you have to figure out ways to circumvent the salary cap and just be the big bank. So I think we saw with those 2 signings specifically, well, not just those 2, because you also have the Hartenstein signing. I think we're seeing how the New York Knicks, how their analytics department is able to find guys that are undervalued and have them come here, work within our system, work with our coach, and just become monsters. Like, look at Julius Randle. This is obviously before Leon Rose got here. We got him for money. We didn't give up any assets. We got Jalen Brunson for money, and then eventually a 2025 second-round pick because we tampered. Boo-hoo. We got Donte DiVincenzo for the mid-level exception. Isaiah Hartenstein, 2 years, what, $18 million. And these guys have been so, like, what would the Knicks season be without those 4 gentlemen, right? We'd still be worrying. We would probably still be in is Quentin Grimes going to be it? Like, we would still be working through that probably. It just, we would be in no man's land because Mitchell Robinson gets hurt and then his backup becomes the most impactful defender in basketball. Without Jalen Brunson, I don't want to think about life anymore. Like, that's just not something I'm willing to talk about. And without Julius Randle, we obviously they've been playing well the past 2 games, but we can't discount how much Julius Randle has meant to this New York Knicks basketball team since he's been here. So it's so wonderful to see that not only does the New York Knicks, not only do they find good talent, but the way they're finding good talent is probably because of the money they are spending that you don't see. And I think that's encouraging, and that should continue to be encouraging as this team looks to build. But let's get back to Dante DiVincenzo, because I mean, when was I don't think the Knicks have ever had a range shooter the way he's a range shooter. Like, he'll be shooting from 27, 28 feet, and it goes up. I'm like, well, it's going to go in. And that's exactly what it did tonight. 9 out of 15 times that man shot from 3-point range, it went in. There was a shot where he caught a grenade, and I think Larry Markkinen was defending him, and it was from the corner and it hit the rim. I'm like, you know how accurate a shooter you have to be to shoot over another guy who's 7 feet tall from the corner, not really shoot it, and still hit the rim. It didn't go in, but that to me was such an impressive thing to do. You could tell that the game he was going to have was going to happen, because I think at that point he only had 1 or 2 made threes. It was just so wonderful, again, to watch him play. He thought he was coming out of the game, had to come back in the game. He had 20, I think he had 19 at the half, finishes with 33. A lot of that. Look, if the Jazz fought back, he probably could have had 40, but they clearly had they wanted to go home. I think Benji pointed out this was their last game on a road trip, so we probably got another schedule win there, but I don't care, because we didn't have OG Anunoby and we did not have Julius Randle tonight. So they got,
like, the Knicks didn't play yesterday, Mensa. The Knicks actually traveled. They came from Brooklyn.
Right. They stayed in the same hotel room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's great to see how DiVincenzo is stepping into a role that probably nobody thought would ever exist for him. And of course, this is just, we're not gonna extrapolate this and say this is the new DiVincenzo, but it is great that we have a guy who can step up when a guy like Julius Randle goes down. I mean, when hopefully Jalen Brunson can play the rest of the season, because we've seen what that's like without him. And I think that's a good segue to where Jalen Brunson has what he did tonight, if you want to touch on that.
So Brunson finishes with 29 points, 9 assists tonight, 10 of 23 shooting, so he wasn't super efficient, and this wasn't like a game where he just hit a ton of threes. Both of his threes came in the second half too. I remember Breen said it on the telecast at one point. It was 49 to 44, and the Knicks were winning, and Jalen Brunson had 7 assists and 2 made field goals, and the Knicks were 7 of 22 from 3 at that point. And you're thinking to yourself, wow, so the Knicks aren't hitting threes. Like, Brunson has 2 made buckets tonight, had 8 points in the first half, 21 in the second half, right? And the Knicks are like I felt comfortably ahead in this game because they're winning all the hustle points. Like, they're clearly the team that's trying harder. I'm not saying that like Utah, like, I didn't think Utah's effort was all that bad either. I just thought the Knicks their effort was better. And then Brunson takes over in the second half, partly because of the DiVincenzo gravity that they had to honor. And yeah, I thought this was just another solid performance that, like, it says a lot about your best player when he can have a quiet 29 points, and 29 points isn't quiet, man. So it's 1 shy of 30. So he continues to be awesome in making his case for what will be a coronation on Thursday when he gets named to the All-Star team.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Brunson being named to the All-Star team was a foregone conclusion. What, 2-3 months ago? Like, he's just been going crazy all season. I think now the narrative is starting to catch up with him, because I saw a clip going around Twitter that I think, Stephen A. Smith was admitting that he should have put him on as a starter, and Kendrick Perkins is saying that he should be an MVP candidate. I'm like, well, maybe if you guys were on top of this at the start of the season, we wouldn't be having these issues about who's the All-Star starter.
If you didn't spend 3 months saying what he isn't, then maybe you would actually be able to recognize what he is, which is a budding superstar that the Knicks got for less money than RJ Barrett. And that's not even like a shot to RJ. Like, that's just like, they signed him for just above $100 million, and it's the best contract in the NBA at the moment.
And here's what's more ridiculous about the $100 million contract for Jalen Brunson is that it wasn't on the table anywhere else. The Knicks far outbid everybody else for Jalen Brunson and got called all kind of names. Jalen Brunson's going to be the bust. He wasn't worthy of the contract. It was this, it was that. All of these different things that they were saying about Jalen Brunson. And now look, now you have a guy who All-Star is not even the question anymore. It's which All-NBA team will this guy end up on? Like, does he have a case for All-NBA first team? Depending, like, if the Knicks are a 2 seed, right? Does he have a case? Like that's where we're headed. Like for real. That's especially if he's an MVP candidate. I don't think he should be any lower than all NBA second team at this point. I don't think there are 4 guards having a better season than Jalen Brunson right now. And I will stand on that until I can't stand on it anymore, especially with the
Well, it's positionless now, so that
course.
takes it out somewhat. But
I'm still standing on it.
to be honest with you, I'm trying to think like if games played is a thing, and like Embiid can only miss 5 more games, and if he misses more, he's ineligible for all NBA. Halliburton's missed a ton of games. Halliburton can only miss 4 more games to be eligible for like. So I don't say it's a technicality that Brunson might have a good. I'm with you. He's an All NBA player right now, and I would probably have him on my. I'd have to actually sit down and do it, but second team feels comfortable for me right now. He may end up on first team All NBA, be the first Knicks since I believe Patrick Ewing to make first team All NBA. That sounds right. So yeah, Mensa. Wow, you just kind of blew my mind with that. That may be where we're headed with Jalen Brunson in that conversation.
He is All NBA bare minimum second team right now. And I think that's what we have to acknowledge that, and we have to move forward in that truth so that we can stop this nonsense about Jalen Brunson is not a superstar. Jalen Brunson has been an average defender this season. A lot of that's probably because of the charges that he takes, and I am not quite comfortable with a guy his size taking charges, especially if we're getting ready to pay him like $300 million. He may have to stop doing that at some point, but it just goes to show you how dedicated he is to his own craft. I think he did, he did a sit down with Michael Wilbon, and he was asking him like, hey, what do you think about the criticism? And so I've never heard a more genuine, I don't care in my life than what Jalen Brunson told Wilbon, because you can tell that it doesn't motivate him. And he goes out and he says that if I need that to motivate me at this point of my career, then something's wrong. And just having that mentality, having a self-starter like that as your leader, when your leader's a self-starter, everybody else has to start themselves. And if not, he's going to get into you. And I think we're starting to see Jalen Brunson evolve, not just as a player, but as a leader, because on a night where he's not the hottest hand, the Knicks are still playing great basketball. The Knicks are still keeping a team. I don't think we kept them we kept them under 100 for as long as it was relevant. I'm not sure.
They only got to 103 because of garbage time. Like
exactly.
And the garbage time honestly was 30 seconds. So maybe that's why Tibbs was so frustrated at the end, because he was trying to keep them under 100, and the Knicks were not doing. I honestly think the team kind of took their foot off the gas at the end, which I would have too. They were up by 25. Yeah, this is. I mean, you're hinting on how well they played. My goodness, and this is something that's actually very encouraging, because when the Julius double teams came in 2021. It was like, oh, this is over. Like, they have no way of running a competent offense unless Derrick Rose gets hot, or Quickly gets hot, or RJ gets hot, or Alec Burks gets hot. They looked so ready for every Jalen Brunson trap. It's almost, and this is, listen, I'm not behind the scenes, but I'm just going to trust that this is part of the film study, that they're like, hey, when Brunson gets trapped, they knew exactly where to pass to, where everybody should go to, where the open spots on the floor would be. Like, Precious Achiuwa took a couple threes tonight, didn't make any of them, but like that's where the shots will be, and like had a ton of shots in the paint because they were finding Hartenstein in the middle of the court, and he was able to use his passing skills from the top of the key, and they were able to get buckets that way, which tells me that they're preparing for what these next couple of weeks without Julius Randle are going to be when they try to score, especially on the offensive end. One thing that will help is Josh Hart, again, just pushing it in transition and doing all the Josh Hart things. A triple-double tonight, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and for good measure, 3 turnovers, Mensa. Did play 43 minutes tonight. I have no idea how this affects Josh Hart. He seems to be on autopilot. I wonder if I wonder if that's the calculation Knicks are going to make in order to make a trade, especially when because I don't think they're going to be able to. They're not going to be able to survive with an 8-man rotation going forward. But to lighten the load, maybe that's where they go to. But I thought Josh Hart was really good tonight, especially on the defensive end. And you and John hit it. It was 15-6. The Jazz got off to a good start. I was worried, like, oh, we're about to see like this is what happens when you play like a better coached team that's more disciplined. And then Colin Sexton got up in Jalen Brunson's grill. And it's as if the entire University of Villanova decided, oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't. And then Dante DiVincenzo got started, and Josh Hart got started, and Colin Sexton was in jail the rest of the night. Had a couple buckets. Colin Sexton finished with 22 points on 13 shots, but he had to work for all of them, and he had to injure Quentin Grimes to get 2 of them. I just thought across the board, Hartenstein, Josh Hart, Precious Achiuwa, all of them played so well tonight, Mensa, and just like very disciplined, and to just use it, Knicksy in how we've come to expect this team to play.
Yeah, I think again that's just very true, very well said. Colin Sexton poked the bear and found out. Yeah, I know you guys have seen the meme with the the more you F around, the more you're gonna find out. But if you don't
chart,
F around,
exactly. Yeah,
you don't have to find out. Colin Sexton decided he wanted to F around, and he found out. You know, it's like they say, if you don't mess with the bull, you won't get the horns. Well, the bull messed with us and got his own horns. So good luck, guy. Happy that we don't have to play him anymore. And I just want to touch on the Quentin Grimes injury because he got injured because he was playing good defense.
Yeah.
Colin Sexton could not go around him, so he went through him, and they ended up banging knees. But it seemed like Quentin Grimes was just fine. He came back in the game. Doesn't seem to be ill. We'll see how that goes. But once I saw that they banged knees, I'm like, okay, that's probably not going to be anything long term. But we do need bodies as much as possible. So I'm praying that Quentin Grimes doesn't have, a bad knee day tomorrow. We need him for Indiana on Thursday, especially because they just lost. They're kind of reeling, so they're probably going to come into that game looking for a win. But yeah, the team is just playing at a really high level. And I do want to give some credit to Isaiah Hartenstein, a guy who I've been a big fan of the entire time. I think that we need to acknowledge that Isaiah Hartenstein is just an excellent basketball player and should have the starting role, save for a trade for a guy who's top 10 in the NBA, like as far as like top 10 players in the NBA, I should say. What he does for us offensively, it just opens things up. He's a better passer than we've had at the center position in a very long time. I remember when I first started watching him play for the Knicks. I'm like, this guy's like Joakim Noah light. And now, like, as we're getting closer and closer and we're seeing more of him, I'm like, you might have to strip that light and just say, this guy is Tom Thibodeau's second coming of Joakim Noah, because his defense is just, this is a center who's getting 3 steals tonight. I think he's still on pace for it. And if he is, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think as a starter, he is averaging 2 blocks and 2 steals a game. The only other players in NBA history who have averaged 2 blocks and 2 steals for a season, Hakeem Olajuwon did it a couple times. You got David Robinson and you have Gerald Wallace. That is 3 players in the entire history of basketball who did what Isaiah Hartenstein was either on pace to do, and I think maybe not because of the injury may have derailed him a little bit. But tonight, again, 3 steals. I think he had a block. Like, I call him the stockbroker because he just gets stocks. That's all he does. Stock after stock after stock after stock is Isaiah Hartenstein. And we just need to appreciate that he's the most impactful defender in basketball right now. I know OG Anunoby got a lot of the credit for when he came over, that the Knicks defense got so much better. But honestly, a lot of that is just because you were adding one of the best defensive wings in basketball and subtracting a guy in RJ Barrett who is up and down on defense, inconsistent on defense at best. And I don't want to disparage RJ Barrett, but the jump between him and OG Anunoby is colossal on the defensive end. So because we didn't realize that the Knicks, and then when the Knicks defense took a drop off when Isaiah Hartenstein got promoted to the starting lineup, it's because his backup isn't as good as him. Mitchell Robinson had the luxury of having Isaiah Hartenstein back him up. Isaiah Hartenstein doesn't have that luxury. So when ender like OG Anunoby gets to the Knicks, now you're seeing what this defense can do. I think it's really hard to get a better basketball player than Isaiah Hartenstein, and it's way hard to do it at $9 million a year. What the Knicks have done this year with Isaiah Hartenstein, who is currently top 35 in EPM, number 1 in defensive EPM, and I think that offensive EPM will continue to creep up as you see his value as a passer, as you see his value. Like, he got the ball in the paint and did like a drop step that led to a dunk, and I'm like, wow. When we watch a Knicks basketball player, a center who can put the ball on the floor, Shout out to Jericho Sims, by the way, because what he did tonight was insane.
That one step where he went on Walker Kessler, who was like Mutombo when it came to DiVincenzo attempts at the rim tonight. Yeah.
But just saying, like, just what Isaiah Hartenstein has meant to this team, we don't talk about enough because a lot of the love is going out to Mitchell Robinson, and we can't wait for Mitchell Robinson to come back. But we need to understand that when Mitchell Robinson comes back, he is coming back to the bench because
let's have that conversation.
We will have that conversation.
I agree with you. But this is the luxury of having two quality starting caliber centers, which is why jumping out the window is appropriate at this point. Like
100%.
The healthy version of this team has such a high ceiling, Mensa. I'm buying in. Like the boogeyman of last week, which is why the Randall injury was such bittersweet, because getting through those two games against Denver and Miami was like, oh, like this is a thing. Like they're able to just like through brute force take care of like the schedule loss for Denver is like fine, call it a schedule loss, but they won that game by almost 40 points. Like that was like schedule losses mean you lose by like 15, 16. Like I'm there with everybody that's ready to overreact to this team at the moment. And if I agree with you about Hartenstein, he's been outstanding. 14 and 12 tonight, as you said, the stockbroker with two steals as well as a block tonight. The only other player I wanted to highlight was, well, I guess again, Jericho Sims had some good minutes tonight. Did grab 4 boards, and then Quentin Grimes. My 2 cents remain that there's a playoff contributor in that player. 12 points again tonight, 6 rebounds. I thought he played really good defense. They're going to need him, of this version of him that's able to play 19, 20 minutes in the playoffs, or allowed to play 19, 20 minutes in the playoffs. I guess the only other thought, unless you have thoughts on Grimes, is like I thought Deuce had a rough night, but I mean you can get away with like his defense remains fine, and if that's the bar for the Knicks is like your backup point guard plays solid defense, so that way Jalen doesn't have to play 50 minutes a night. I'll take it. And it's also why I wonder if the Knicks are considering eventually upgrading that position. But your thoughts on the three bench guys before we head on over to our next segment, Mensa.
So I'm not worried about Deuce McBride. He's a young player. He just got into the rotation. He's due to have some off nights. But I do want to touch on Quentin Grimes because I agree that he is a player that the Knicks should not be looking to trade just to trade. You don't trade him for Bruce Brown. You don't trade him for Malcolm Brogdon. You trade him for a guy who's a foundational piece, because that is what Quentin Grimes is. Now, a lot of times, Quentin Grimes as a defender, Quentin Grimes had what I like to say, great cornerback two. Like so he's basically a great cornerback too. And the thing about great cornerback twos is that they get signed in free agency by other football teams, and those teams try to make them corner CB1s, and they're not CB1s. It doesn't seem like Quentin Grimes at this point in his career is a lead corner, is what I would say. So when we watch him play with OG Anunoby, you really see the value, because now you got Revis on one side. Now you're seeing the value in Cromartie. You're not worried about all the bad plays and all that sort of stuff. Same thing with Quentin Grimes. When OG Anunoby is on the court, teams get so frustrated that they have to outlet the guy that Quentin Grimes is defending and be okay with that. That is such a luxury to have. And I think that when you have a player like that coming off your bench, right? Dante DiVincenzo should be the starter. But what Quentin Grimes brings is an added element that is an added identity element, because this team is building its identity on the defensive end around Jalen Brunson. So having a guy like Quentin Grimes, I'm happy that the Knicks are giving him more minutes right now. It may be out of necessity. I quite don't care. I just want to see the kid play. And I think that because he's playing so well, it should change the calculus on what we're thinking at the trade deadline. You don't trade him for DeJounte Murray. I'm sorry. I mean, DeJounte Murray's already off the table, so we're not even worried about that. Yeah. But he's not going to Detroit for Alec Burks. He should not be going to Portland for Malcolm Brogdon. He should not be going to Toronto for Bruce Brown. Like, all that is, you're selling him way short. And, while I understand that the Knicks have a very vital opportunity, a very present opportunity to get to a conference finals and maybe further, and you want to maximize the value of the players, a lot of that is getting a player better than Quentin Grimes. And what he does defensively is very hard to find. So I would love to see this kid stick around. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Quentin Grimes right now.
I agree. And if there is like a conflict between Grimes and his representation and the front office and Tip because he wants a bigger role, because I understand there's a business side of the team and of the sport as well, handle it in the offseason. OB came up huge in the playoffs for the Knicks. That game 4 doesn't happen. That game 4 win against the Cavs was vital because Obi Toppin played the entire fourth quarter. I want to have the insurance of Quentin Grimes and what I think he can add to a playoff rotation. Figure it out in the offseason, as far as I'm concerned. He's here to stay. Okay. I think that we covered all of this from the Knicks' 8th consecutive victory. If you've been playing along with us in Prize Picks, you know it's been a safe bet to take some Dante DiVincenzo overs. We'll see if the crew took some Dante DiVincenzo overs tonight, where we go over to Betting and Sweating, presented by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/KFS and use code KFS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/KFS. Up to $100. You submit it. They will match it. You can play along with us every night. Prize Picks, that's daily fantasy sports made easy. So, Mensa, here's our picks tonight. I actually don't know how we did. So, I know I hit because I hit on Josh Hart over in points, rebounds, assists. It was 24.5. He had a triple-double. I know who missed. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Let me get the overlay out the way. So Sean hit. He had Colin. No, did you have Colin Sexton or did
I had Colin Sexton? Yeah.
So you had Colin Sexton over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. On points and assists alone, Sexton hit that. He had 22.7 rebounds, 3 assists. So that's a total of 32. Sean took Dante D. Oh, wait a minute. He didn't take Dante DiVincenzo over. Oh, he had 4 steals, so he definitely hit it. I thought he did over in 3s.
Yeah, he took 1.5 stocks. Dante DiVincenzo finished with 1 block and 4 steals, so I'm pretty sure he cleared that. That's
cleared it by a lot. Now, your boy and XJ's boy, Mr. Lauri Markkanen, the supposed superstar and missing piece, that stinks. I'm sorry. Fraud alert is officially been sounded. The overrated Lauri Markkanen. We're overreacting tonight, Mensa. 23.5. Oh, that's like 23.5. Jalen Brunson gets that in his sleep. Again, he got a quiet 29. 23.5 points is all Lauri Markkanen had to get. And Lauri Markkanen had the same number of points as Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yep, 14 points for Lauri Markkanen. He's due, it was a scheduled loss for him, so we'll give him a little bit of grace. But
Precious Achiuwa had more points than Lauri Markkanen.
It wasn't a good showing for my guy Lauri. Wasn't a good showing for XJ's guy Lauri. We are still very firmly keeping our Lauri stock, and if anybody wants to sell it, you can find 2 guys who are willing to buy all that stock. But tonight is not about the Utah Jazz. It's about the New York Knicks. So I'm very glad that he went under there, even though Colin Sexton went over. He's just one of those guys that the Knicks have had trouble with forever. But yeah, 3 out of 4. That's great. That's great. If you took the flex, you won some money tonight.
Yes, if you took the flex. But unfortunately, you didn't get all 4 because Lauri Markkanen stinks. That's just the facts of the matter tonight. Quentin Grimes only had 2 fewer points than Lauri Markkanen. And I'm saying it wrong. It's not Lauri Markkanen. My mom's name is Lori, so I'm pronouncing it Lori. But you said Guy Lowry, like he rhymes with Kyle Lowry, and so I will now just say that from now on. Lauri Markkanen. I'll just say Kyle Lowry's last name and Lauri Markkanen's first name. Shout out to the fine folks over at Prize Picks. We always appreciate their partnership. Again, if you want to play along with us, head to prizepicks.com/KFS and use code KFS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. And then one other thing that we've just got to do a better job of like promoting in general. This Saturday, if you'd like to hang out with us while we watch I know, like I should speak for all of us because I know like I know, Mensa, you are attempting to come to our watch party on Saturday.
I will try my best, yes.
You'll try your best. But if you want to watch the Knicks play the Lakers at T-Squared Social, which is a restaurant, a sports bar right around the corner from Penn Station, from Grand Central, it's walking distance. And I'm a big dude, and I'm saying it's walking distance. You know it's walking distance. It's 7 East 42nd Street in New York City. We're going to be watching the Knicks and Lakers play there. We're going to be it's free admission. They're giving out a free beer to the first 50 guests presented by Michelob Ultra. It starts at 6:30 is the pregame party. They were hanging out in the area where they have like duck pin bowling. There's pictures on my Instagram if you want to take a look at it. I have fallen in love with this venue. I went there for a date night on Saturday, Mensa. The wife and I were due for a date night, and it was like dinner and a movie in the city. And we decided to go to T Square for dinner. And she was like, "Oh, this is where you're having the party? This is big time. It's like the biggest venue in New York City that I've ever been to." So join us this Saturday at 6:30 in Midtown. Look forward to seeing as many of you there as possible. Now, my friend, Mr. Smith, are you ready? Dive into the super chats. We got a jam-packed super chats. The people have jumped out the window with us. Okay.
I love it. I love it. Before we jump out the window, I just want to point out that the New York Knicks are 1.5 games behind second place. So let's go. Let's jump out the window, baby.
Right there. I got to be honest. Here's how far I jumped out the window tonight. So the Pacers played the Celtics tonight, and the Knicks gained ground on the Pacers because the Celtics won. There was a part of me that was like, should we be rooting for the Pacers tonight so we can gain ground on Boston?
I love it.
Because then we'd be 4.5 behind the one seed. It. Like that there was a part of me. It's like 10% of me that was like, had we won tonight and the Celtics lost, we'd be 5 games back in the loss column. It's just something to consider.
Something to consider.
Maybe
they're not that healthy.
The mountaintop is a little bit higher than we realized. You know, and the Knicks are winning games without like 2 of their best players at the moment. So just a thought.
You never know where this train will take you.
Never know. Okay. We start with Danny Gardner. This came in around the third quarter, I believe. Danny Gardner, it's great to root for a team where you know the players care as much as we do. These dudes are so competitive. A lot of winners in this group, and it shows. Yep. That's been the modicum of this team for the last 4 years, Mensa.
Yeah, and I touched on it early. Like this team cares about the games they are playing, and that is it's so comforting as a fan because we care so much. And even though like it can be these guys, it's their 6th game on a road trip. Like I look forward to watching you guys play. I don't like that doesn't matter to me as a fan, but so it really is wonderful to see these guys go out there and you're going to get the effort that you deserve.
So Drew P, I appreciate the contribution. He goes, Dante, and then who's the last piece? Lakers collapsing. AD? We don't need to go that far. The last piece might be a backup point guard.
Right.
We don't need
Brogdon.
Might be Malcolm Brogdon. I'm not. Might be Alec Burks, for all I know. Might be Deuce McBride getting better. We don't need to talk about aging, injury-prone Anthony Davis. We have a power forward that is going to make the All-Star team anyway. So as of right now, I'm good on the Lakers. AD's been outstanding this year, by the way. I'm not like trying to shit on AD's season. He's been outstanding this year. We're not there at the moment. Let's maybe in the off season, but we're not there at the moment. Thank you, Drew P. And then Jesse M. I love you, Jesse. Can we chill with Josh Hart step back threes, please?
Please.
How's anybody complaining tonight? Those are grenades he's getting at the end of the shot clock because they have no gravity at the moment other than Jalen Brunson.
Jesse, I stand with you. I don't want to see Josh.
This is you criticizing Julius up 30 against Denver. Let's enjoy this. He had a triple-double tonight.
It doesn't make it less true. Even though I enjoyed the game, I love Josh Hart, but that does not make that less true. I do not want to see Josh Hart take step-back threes.
Fair point. The Knicks should not throw him grenades where he's forced to take step-back threes anymore. Then I agree. Busy, he's got a couple, so we'll get through some busy super chats. When the Knicks, busy because you got a couple, I should say. Thank you, Busy. We love and always appreciate your contributions to this, and look forward to seeing you at the town hall tomorrow night. So Busy says, when the Knicks win a chip with Nova Boys, they're going to make a documentary about how the core of a college championship team came together in the NBA and was able to duplicate the success. That just warmed my heart. Because of the story, it is actually kind of perfect. And I also see the second super chat he sent that is the last chapter of the documentary. I suggest enticing Brooklyn with Julius. Since he is better than Bridges, we won't have to give up that many picks. Right, Sean, with the W? So that completes the documentary, that you get all the Nova boys from that championship team to come play for the Knicks. let you respond first.
The Knicks and Nets have not made a trade since 1983.
Gonna be my response. I gotta go back to Reagan to find a trade. Yeah,
that's where I'll leave that one. But yeah, I would buy the book. I would buy the T-shirt. I would have the special edition documentary on Blu-ray or whatever it is that the media du jour when that comes out. It's just that team these guys already mean so much to us. They already mean so much to us. Brunson, DiVincenzo, what Josh Hart did when he came to the Knicks last season, and he had the New York in his braids, and he put the number 3 on. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he's had an up and down season. But we're seeing, like, just tonight, like, how refreshing is it to have a guy like the defensive rebounding thing has been. Let's just say, because I don't want to get disparaging here, but let's just say the defensive rebounding has been a bit of a challenge for Julius Randle when it comes to getting contested defensive rebounds. Just the effort night and day from what Josh Hart does, how he attacks the glass, gets you 10 rebounds, and you feel like all 10 of those rebounds matter. It just is so refreshing to see him hustle. And I mean, what else is there to say about Jalen Brunson? The Villanova boys are so special, and whether they win a championship or not at this point, they're going to get a documentary. So I hope they're ready for it.
Look, I have no college team because like I went to a school that I don't really acknowledge anymore, and I mean I was a big fan of the Big East way back when, so I guess Villanova may be my new favorite school because of what that school has meant for my professional basketball team. Speaking of Villanova, Busy has another one. The Nova effect is the entire thing, and then he adds, the chemistry and energy between them makes me want to go all in for Bridges and see what they can do together. I mean, look, that's a fair want or need. I think it's gonna have to be the Marbury route. He's gonna have to go to another team and then get traded to the Knicks that way. And look, this may be naive to think that the Knicks and Nets will never make a trade. I still think they're gonna make a trade on that scale to go all, like, I just don't think the Knicks are gonna get prime assets that will be a borough away. And the same thing goes for the Nets. We joke about how small the fan base is, but like that does exist. And like the step one of trading your best player and a fan favorite to, like, it's you made the comp in the group chat the other day. It's like why the Mets are not going to trade Pete Alonso to the Yankees. Like, it's just, you don't do that.
Yeah. Isn't Mikal Bridges their like leading jersey seller?
Yeah.
And then to trade him to the Knicks, like, that's, I'm sorry, guys. Like, that,
but like, trade him to the Knicks to help them win a championship.
Yeah. That's pie in the sky, guys. Especially when they came, the city's under new management. Like, they really said that. That was a thing. They're not. I mean, I understand that was Prokhorov and everything, and it's a different owner now. But no, those two teams will not make a trade. And a lot of it is because, like, whenever we play them, like we have 2 home games and 2 away games. We have 6, all those games. That's just 2 extra home games. Like, and their fan base hates that. There is no way we get to invade their building and they're just gonna say, okay, we'll take Julius Randle and a couple of picks for you guys, go win a championship. And then we are in. It's just not an AL NL thing. It's not an AFC, NFC thing. We are in direct competition with these guys for the division. And I understand divisions don't matter as much as they used to, but come on, guys, like that. I don't think that if it happens, look, I don't know. You come up with the thing I have to do, but I completely disagree that it'll happen.
We'll collectively just say we were wrong. Like, that's all it has to be. Like, oh yeah, wow, they made the first trade since 1983. Like, Michael Jordan wasn't in the league the last time that the Knicks and Nets made a trade, which is why, look, I agree with the sentiment. Like, if you want to go all in for a guy and you want to maximize the spacing around Brunson and the defense around Brunson, that's an upgrade. Like, that is indeed like, I'm not saying I do think Julius Randle is better than Mikal Bridges, but I also recognize that the fate can get you to dream a little bit. Like, I do get it. I just personally think that he's on the wrong team to try and make a trade for. So that's just my 2 cents on the matter. And then one more. My new favorite Nick this is from Busy is Precious has shown if he is put at the 4, he can make a positive impact at both ends of the floor and not just one. The man has surgery, Busy. Stop kicking him while he's down. My goodness, man.
Man, look, shout out to the Precious Achiuwa because he has a little dog in him. Very good basketball tonight. Can't complain. I think he was 7 for for 13, but I did appreciate that when he got the ball, he was decisive. That is very important on a team where Jalen Brunson is on court, DiVincenzo is on court, Josh Hart's on court. You don't have to hold the ball and try to turn it into, well, I'm filling in for Julius. So no, just do what you're doing. And happy to see he didn't rebound well tonight at all. I think he only had like one rebound. Or
he had one for a while. He had 5 for the game total.
Okay, so
I was staring at it too because I think he played some of the 5 in the fourth quarter. But regardless,
that'll do it. Yeah,
that's
5 rebounds in 40 minutes is not not ideal.
I get how frustrating Julius Randle has been, guys. Like,
yeah, but
can we not? Is my only question.
Let's not buy a precious jersey to spite Julius.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Busy. Sincerely, thank you, Busy, for all your contributions. I do appreciate it. Josh So Focus forgot to say at half, you can say this team's defense. Oh, God. You can say this team's defense is better without Julius. I've said it all season. Still need his creation juice and ball movement.
Pros and cons. Okay. Trade-off.
Apparently, they're better without OG Anunoby, too, because he didn't play the last 2 games either.
And Quentin Grimes for that 20 minutes, he can go get everybody can get a surgery, right?
Yeah, you get a surgery. You said the
Mitch don't come back.
Yeah,
Julius
don't need Mitch Robinson either.
OG don't come back. Don't make a trade, Leon. We got all we need. We got all we need.
We're good. Just let's see if Malachi Flynn has it in him too, and then we'll just be like, you know what? Let's. We're good with what we have. We don't need to make any superstar trade or anything. Let's sell low on all of these other guys. Like, please let this not be a Julius Randle like shit on segment, please. I'd like to enjoy this team as is. That's all I want. I just want to enjoy a win tonight. We don't have to make this who didn't play.
We definitely do still need his creation juice and ball movement, though. I do want to point out that he did say that because it's true. We need Julius Randle to come back and soak up that usage. We need him to pass the ball. One of my favorite plays of January was that Julius Randle no-look dime. Like, that will forever be etched in my mind. So, yeah, Julius Randle get healthy soon.
The other part about it was literally the debate with John that I was having about the Bruce Brown of it all. Like, the defense is already good. Like, when Julius is off the court, the defense is already good. They're going to need to be able to score more than 118 points when you play a Boston Celtics. I watched the entirety of that Nuggets Bucks game last night, or at least the entire second half of that Nuggets Bucks game last night. The offense in these top tiers at the moment is absurd. You're gonna need to be able to score with these big boys. So, thank you, Ja, for the contribution. Joe Dugan, his front office is incredible. We are blowing teams without. We are blowing teams out without 3 of our 4 best players. Stealing Achiuwa as a trade throw-in and signing Dante DiVincenzo is crazy. Your thoughts, Mensa?
3 of our 4 best players, in my opinion, our 4 best players are Jalen Brunson, Isaiah Hartenstein, OG Anunoby, and Julius Randle. So by my count, we're playing without 2 of our 4 best players. I guess he's assuming that Mitchell Robinson is one of our 4 best players, and I flatly disagree with that. I think Isaiah Hartenstein has usurped him, but I mean, we are playing without 2 of our 3 best players. I will say that if you want to say that OG Anunoby and Julius Randle are 2 and 3 and on the Knicks right now, I personally think Isaiah Hartenstein might be 3, and I would probably have Julius Randle at 4 just because of the importance of what they do. But their point goes, they're all 4 very high level basketball players, and we need all 4 of them. So I don't want to disagree on semantics because I do agree that the front office is incredible. I do think that the Precious Achiuwa throw-in looks great, and that the Dante DiVincenzo signing is like 3 home runs in 2 off seasons, with DiVincenzo signing this offseason and the offseason prior getting Isaiah Hartenstein and Jalen Brunson. So the front office is doing a great job. We're winning without 2 of our best players. Mitchell Robinson, definitely one of our best defenders for sure. And to be able to keep the defense where it's at without him, just a testament to how great the front office has been. So I agree.
Yeah, like you said, it's semantics to say who your best players are, and we're missing 3 of our key contributors to last year's, or 2 of our key contributors to last year's playoffs run, and like whatever you think OG Anunoby has been since coming here, the plug and play of the Knicks this year has been impressive, and I think that's honestly been the most impressive part about the last 2 weeks, really, since Hartenstein went down with the Achilles. injury, and it was like clearly like you can't play him as much. And I personally thought I understood that the Knicks would need to play him because I didn't think Precious Achiuwa was playable. And then lo and behold, the more they played him, and maybe it's part of development, maybe it's just lightening the leash a little bit. He's not just playable; he's a positive contributor. So it's really cool to see that the Knicks can take like throw-ins into trades and make them positive players. So thank you, Joe, for the contribution. Juan Cruz, I told you last night, John, 3rd seed. Let's effing go.
Co-sign. 3 seed is a little too low to be shooting, fellas. We're going for the 2 seed. We're 1.5 games behind. 3 seed is now ours. Let's continue to look forward. I don't believe in these Milwaukee Bucks. I think the New York Knicks are going to surprise a lot of teams this year, but I think we're going for that 2 seed for sure. Because if we were going to slow down, we'd have slowed down already. With the loss of a Julius Randle and the loss of an OG Anunoby, we would have slowed down. This team is full steam ahead. I don't know when we're going to lose next. Indiana's going to be a tough game. Lakers are going to be a tough game, but we're better than both of those teams. So let's see where this goes.
Next up, again from Josso Focus, you think Tibbs was trying to keep Jalen Brunson's 30 streak going? What was his streak at?
Oh man, I don't know. I think he had like in the last 8 games, 7 of his last 8 games, he had 30 points. And the only time that he didn't have 30 points was when Detroit or somebody else didn't fight back and he only had 21. But to answer the question, no, I think Tom Thibodeau wanted to win a basketball game. And the only way he knows how to win a basketball game is to play his best players.
Yeah. So he had 30 against Dallas in the game they lost. Then he had 30 again against Houston. Then 41 against Washington. 38 against Toronto. 30 against Brooklyn. Then 21 against Denver because they mollywopped him. And then 2 32-point games. So, John, no, I don't think he was, and I agree with Mensa. Like, there wasn't a 30 streak to hold up. I think he just is an insane man and, like, got paranoid that they were going to blow a 17-point lead in the last
8 wins in a row matters way more to Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, than the 30-win streak. Yeah, that's the streak he was mostly worried about. And whether he was actually safe and could have played Arcidiacono for 3 minutes, I personally was like, when Lauri Markkanen sat, you had to take him out the game, but maybe this is where a backup point guard is important because then you'll have a point guard that can take Jalen Brunson out the game. Thank you, Ja. Red Sarachek, 4 things I don't know. How Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson are so underpaid. Andalusiasis. Do you know what that word is?
Andalusias? I don't know anything about.
Oh, that was better than what I tried to say. Marketing budget. Tibbs not pulling starters and the Zerbiak's relationship to Andalusia. Oh, there's a commercial with like Wally and his dad in during. I wasn't paying attention to the commercial, so I don't know. I know that Tibbs not pulling the starters is just like it's a thing. Like it's just what he does. And it's a testament to the front office. Okay, people in the chat are saying Andalusia crush commercials. The Spanish towns marketing. Guys, I don't pay attention during the commercials. I get these tweets off.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You got the wrong post game.
Unless they're commercials for Prize Picks, our sponsor for tonight. I will always pay attention to those. Those are great.
Agreed.
But anybody else, I don't pay attention to. So, but thank you, Red Sarachek, for the questions. I hope you get answers to them pretty soon. Ryan Wong, game over. Game was over in the first when Clownin' Sexton jawed at the Nova gang, Don himself. The next 40 minutes was just the family taking care of business. Let's go Knicks. I'm so glad everybody else had the same reaction when Colin Sexton did that, Mensa.
Sean jumped in. He shot me a text. He said that there is, I'll read it live.
Go ahead.
There is a commercial for Andalusia that runs on MSG Plus like 787 times per game.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes okay. My brother texted me a similar thing during the game, and it was like, I guess this is the Knicks' new favorite sponsor, right? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about because he watches at work on his phone on MSG Plus, so that makes sense. I thought it was like he was making a joke that it's like a nasal spray commercial, and he was like, I was like, is this an Achiuwa joke that because of Precious Achiuwa? that the Knicks need nasal spray because they keep sneezing. And
Right.
no, he was talking about the Andalusia commercials. So
Yeah, I mean, look, as a new dad, when the commercial breaks are on, I am focused on what's going on in my house.
And my baby at the moment is Knicks Film School, so like I'm focused. I'm like getting the rest of the show ready. I'm getting the tweets off. I'm seeing how we can where we are in betting and sweating. So, yeah. Shout out to MSG, I guess, for making their money. And shout out to Colin Sexton for inciting the Villanova Mafia to
Don Brunson
business tonight. Don Brunson, indeed. Next one from Dale. I almost wanted to say Dale, but I'll say Dale. Shout out to my Spanish heritage, man.
Thanks, Dale or Dale, because you can also be Hispanic or Spanish.
Yes, I will not exclude. Yeah, you know it's bad when my mom says, "Why are the starters still in?"
You know what it's like? It's like there was a rapper, I forgot which one, but he said one of his rhymes was fourth quarter screaming why the F Batuman. It's kind of like fourth quarter why the F the starters in for the New York Knicks, because we're blowing teams out and Tom Thibodeau sees a 19-point lead and he's like, not quite comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but hey, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
I tweeted it. Oh, that was a Seanism, but I'll call it a Mensaism because that was good. Can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm gonna think about that later. It's part of the gig with Tibbs. I agree. I tweeted it out twice. Like, all right, let's get the starters out. And then Jalen Brunson got hit in the face, and it's like, why are the starters still in? Thankfully, as far as we know, no harm, no foul at the moment. So we'll take it for now. Patrick Hederman with a contribution. Thank you, sir. Anthony, I'll let you read this one, Mensa. We'll give you some run.
Okay. Anthony, thank you for your contribution. We have Forget Heat Culture. This is Knicks Culture, a big 15 win. Shout out to Reggie Bullock. This is a Tibbs, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle culture. I want to see the three of them on this team for a long time. Hey, I'm very happy with the New York Knicks culture. I'm happy that this team has a next man up mentality. I'm happy that Jalen Brunson is a leader of this team. And it seems as if in a market like New York, these guys have been able to shut out all the noise and just be great at playing basketball. So, yeah, shout out to the New York Knicks culture. Shout out to Julius Randle. Shout out to Tom Thibodeau. And shout out to Jalen Brunson, Don Brunson himself.
Cosign, I agree with all of that. And Forget Heat Culture specifically, I agree with that. Apparently, there is a nasal spray that's all over the MSG Plus broadcast. It's for Afrin nasal spray, which is what my brother was referring to. This is where you need to get Precious Achiuwa to be your spokesperson. And then anytime someone go, Achiuwa, and he goes, did somebody say my name? And then he goes, get Afrin for all your nasal needs or something.
Yeah, it's like how they say Montez Sweat should have deodorant advertising.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Bingo. Thank you, Anthony, for the contribution. Go ahead, Mensa.
Hush Zoo, thank you for your contribution, my friend. Thank you, Jay Wright. I'm speechless, honestly. What more can you say about what Jay Wright has done with the Villanova Wildcats program? Just a great job. And this actually gives me a segue to poo-poo the Dallas Mavericks for tanking last season and not giving us their pick, because we could have had another Villanova Wildcat by the name of Cam Whitmore, but he is now tearing it up in Houston off their bench. Could we have used Cam Whitmore in the absence of Julius Randle at the moment? Hey, so yeah, I just wanted to get my Dallas Mavericks hate take off. But thank you for the contribution.
You know where I stand on this. I respect the chess move.
Me too.
Hate it. I respect the chess move. I hate it so much. I agree. I just it's very much game recognized game. Like your season went to you may, because of this losing you keep doing and this 45 usage you keep making lose to play, you may lose the grand prize of it all. But in the vacuum of just that move, I respect it. We'll see how much it hurts you long term.
Couldn't give us Jalen Brunson and your pick in the same season. Understand?
Yeah,
completely understand.
Maybe in a couple years from now, you give us Luka Doncic though. So hashtag Operation 77. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Operation 77 is still going.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Kevin Danishevsky, thank you for the contribution. Dante 3 Vincenzo. Really need OG to come back against Indiana. However, this run makes me believe they can more than hold it down without Julius in the short term. 100% agree. The way this team is playing, it's like they reinvented themselves without Julius Randle and around Jalen Brunson for the short term. And it's seamless because you're seeing that this team can give Julius a rest that he needs because we need him big time in the playoffs. Definitely going to need OG Anunoby to come back against Indiana because Halliburton and Siakam are no joke. And honestly, the teams we just played, we got a really tired Utah Jazz team, and we played the Charlotte Hornets. Enough said. We're definitely going to need OG Anunoby to come back, but I think that the injury has been minor enough that we can expect him to be back. But if he's not, whether or not he's back, it should be the first real test for this team without Julius Randle. And of course, Dante DiVincenzo. What did I call him earlier? Carbone DiVincenzo, Dante Il Molino. He was cooking tonight. Gotta love Dante DiVincenzo.
Thank you, Kevin, for the contribution.
All right, DJ MKC, thank you for your contribution. Fully healthy. Oh, I love this already. Fully healthy. Which team wins in a 7-game series? The current team or the 94 team?
What year is it?
Oh man, that's a great question. Talent alone. Man, I think this Knicks team wins.
So that's the thing. So also, are we saying so he's fully healthy is the question? Because like tonight's Knicks team could win a game against anybody in the 90s because it's like a defensive led team.
Right.
And Precious Achiuwa might actually be as good as Charles Oakley. Look, I'm always going to lean the offense. So any team now would beat any team then. The tough part, and like Ben Kim Gervie's in the chat asking the correct question. What rules are we playing by? Are Mason and
because Jalen Brunson went to game 3.
He wouldn't make exactly when your point guard's gone in game 2 because he's foul baiting and they're not calling any of the fouls and Oakley's just like clotheslining him. Yeah, like it's tough. And then the Knicks will win every game 85-70 because the Knicks are playing Malachi Flynn in games 4, 5, and 6.
Let's do a thing. I know the New York Knicks starting 5 this season because I was born in 1994 and I was 2 months old when they were playing that series. I don't remember who the starting 5 for the 94 New York Knicks were. So I'm going to quickly Google them. And I don't know if you want to, but maybe we can rank the starters 1 through 10 because I feel like that might be better than just saying who would beat who. Let's see.
So I believe it was Ewing. Was Charles Smith the starting 4 then? And then it went Oakley, Starks, and Derek Harper.
Okay, so that team went 57-25. I don't think this Knicks team is going to win 57 games. I just think it's a little too late.
Hold on, Mensa. This version of the team is on like a 67 win pace. So that's why the calculation I think is a fair question to ask. Like definitely the new Knicks.
I'm just gonna pull up the last game of that series, which is June 19th. Okay, so the starters on June 19th, which is Game 7 of the NBA Finals, were John Starks, Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Derek Harper, and Charles Smith.
So that was Smith. Okay.
So
Mace coming off the bench. Mace is your Josh Hart.
Yeah. So I think that the only player on this team that I'm taking, which sounds crazy, but I think maybe Josh Starks and Patrick Ewing might be the only guys who would start on this Knicks team. So I think there's your answer. I think the Knicks with I think OG Anunoby starts on both teams.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson's your starter, Julius Randle's your starter. So I think we have 3-2, and I think that the gap between 94 Ewing and 24 Brunson isn't too wide. It might even favor Brunson because Ewing was how old was Ewing that year? Because I know Ewing's best seasons were like 87 and 88. In 93, no, he was still great in 93. He was definitely still great in 93. So you can say it's a wash. If you want to give it to Ewing, let's give it to Ewing. So they have the best player, but I think we have 3 of the 5 best players in that series as far as the top 5 goes. So I would probably lean 24 Knicks, which sounds crazy, and more reason to jump out the window because, listen, I just said that we would be better than a team that went to an NBA Finals.
I think the way I'm going to answer this question is, like, obviously that team went to a game 7 and was like a bounce here, literally a shot in game 6 away from winning a championship. I am increasingly growing confident that this team, as John said, could win any 7-game series against any team fully healthy. So that's the best compliment I can give, that I think this team can reach the same ceiling fully healthy as said 94 team. But good question, DJ. That was
a podcast question.
That was an exercise. I appreciate that. Go ahead.
All right. Red Sarachek, thank you for your contribution. The great Brunsini might shut down 7th Avenue. Agreed. But that actually brings me to a point of not really contention, but something that I did want to touch on. If the New York Knicks win game 1 of the playoffs at home because we hosted, please let's act like we've been here before. Because it's gotten to a point where the Knicks fans shutting down 7th Avenue has become a meme, and it feels like the first couple times we did it, it was genuine Knicks fans, but now it feels like finance bros who are getting to act wild, on a night after work. So it's not the culture anymore. It was the culture. It was a moment of time. Let's appreciate it for what it was. But this playoffs, please, let's not go back and do the nonsense that we did before, because now it's nonsense.
Can I counter?
Sure, go ahead.
We're jumping out the window over January 30th basketball game.
Very fair.
A Jazz team that played a back-to-back.
This is not the moral high ground I should be taking.
Right. Like we're all. I'm here for anybody to react however they want to react, because as we know as Knicks fans, and as you and I know as Jets fans and as Mets fans, we don't know if the vibe's ever going to be this high. I'm confident they can get higher. React however you want to react. Enjoy things while you can. That's my take.
So then my final, I guess my response to your response will be,
okay,
at least don't go out there screaming F Trae Young. Trae Young's
that
his
life's
stop.
bad enough. Can stop. Yes, yeah. That we don't need to concern ourselves with the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference. We can just move on with. We could brag about our team. We could be flamboyant and bold in our praise. We don't need to bring up a man that
doesn't matter.
It does not matter. Exactly. Indeed. Thank you, Red, as always.
All right. Sam Garcia. Why not us, John? Well, John is with us. John is jumping out the window. Thank you, Sam, for your contribution. But you are right. Why not us? Why not these New York Knicks? Especially because we're still live at the deadline. We made a major improvement, and now we can make another improvement. Listen, this team has a lot in the tank, and I'm so excited to see where they go.
John is right hand in hand with us out the window. So he agrees. Why not us, John? And Juanon also asks, why not us, John? Go ahead, Mensa.
Thank you, Juanon, for your contribution. Why not us, John? Why not us? In a league softer than baby shit, we stand out. Tips got a full pound of dogs, 100%. 53 wins in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Robert Cross. Fair us, NBA. Fair us.
Great.
First of all, this is an outstanding comment. I want to just be very clear about that. But in the KFS town hall before the season, Robert Cross said 53 wins. But there was one prediction bolder than Robert Cross's 53 wins position, and that was mine. I had the Knicks at 54 wins. And because we are going to do the live thing, I think we are 31-17 right now?
31-17.
31-17. Let's get the calculator out. Okay, guys, we're going to divide 31 divided by 48 gets us to 64.5%, and we're going to multiply that by 82. We are currently sitting at 52.95 wins. We are right at 53 wins. So I'm one over, but I did think this team was going to be a 2 seed and have 54 wins. A lot of it was just because of the continuity. A lot of that was broken up because Emmanuel Hookley and RJ Barrett aren't here anymore, but I'm still on pace, baby. I'm 1.5 games behind second place, and we are currently playing at a 53 win pace, and we need 54 wins. Look, if we beat Indiana and we beat Los Angeles, I might be right back. So let's see where we go. But definitely, why not us? This team has been so great, and we're finding depth in a new way that I didn't think we had at the beginning of the month. Now with Miles McBride stepping up, with Precious Achiuwa stepping up, with OG Anunoby being who he is, with all the guys just playing so well, Josh Hart finding himself after having a rough start to the season. Why not us? We are deep, we're good, and we have a superstar. Why not the Knicks?
So first of all, to you predicting 54 and then being on a 53 win pace, despite the trade that happened that we didn't think might happen, I believe our football coach once said, they don't ask how, they ask how many. So that's all I have to say about that. I hope he gets fired, by the way. Why not us? I'm filing that away for a t-shirt. That just my 2 cents on it. And I agree, like, in the name of the Father, the Son, and Robert Cross, this is becoming a very special season. So thank you, Juanon.
All right, Hush Zoo again. Thanks for the contribution. JB and DDV reminds me of a duo out west. If you are talking about the duo that changed basketball about a decade ago, I mean, it's hard. It's really, really hard not to see what you're seeing because they are lights out from three and they have such chemistry together. And finally, like, when one gets hot, the other's right around the corner. So why not us? Why not those guys? I mean, well, not really. When DDV gets hot, Brunson gets hot, but Brunson has been hot forever, and Dante DiVincenzo has been great, but he doesn't have the same like balancing effect that Steph and Clay had. But listen, if this is diet Steph and Clay, I will sign up for it. I will 100% sign up for it.
That's I think the fair. It's Steph and Clay light. It's a Steph and Clay variant that doesn't have the same all-time great ceiling that had, but my goodness, is it helping them win basketball games at the moment. So and look, that's why you said at the beginning, like, the DiVincenzo of it all is why, like, it gives you Klay Thompson vibes, and it made the Jazz start to honor his shot tonight, and you saw the Jalen Brunson double teams stop in the second half. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, look, DiVincenzo did have to play with them for a season, and maybe Klay Thompson was his sensei for a little while. But I don't want to say light. Well, I don't want to say diet. It's more like
it's a variant.
It's more like Splash Brothers Zero. Not like Diet Splash Brothers.
So,
like, it still got the flavor there. Like, it's not a different flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. Thank you, Hush Sue, for the contribution.
All right, Will Oliver, thank you for the contribution. Complete team effort. Precious been a revelation. 100%. We did not think, look, Precious Achiuwa last week was precious ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's come a long way.
Yeah, he was Achiuwa. Exactly.
He's come a long, long way in 7 days. So shout out to that guy, man. And shout out to the complete team effort that it took to beat a Utah Jazz team that's been feisty all season, to beat them on the second half of a back-to-back when you just beat the pants off another team. This was if there was any time for the Knicks to get caught slipping, it was tonight, and they didn't, because it was a complete team effort. So absolutely.
I think that's what's given me any hint of like surreal confidence, is like, this was a team that was due for an effort loss, and the effort just went to a different level tonight. So I mean, that's why I'm super optimistic that we're without OG, we're without Randall, and the effort's still good enough to help you beat a team that in the month of going into tonight, the Jazz were 10-5 in the month of January. This wasn't a bad basketball team. At least hasn't been playing bad this month. So yeah, I'm right there with you. That, like, say what you want about it being a schedule loss. We said at the top, say what you want about being a schedule loss for the Jazz. The Knicks traveled further than the Jazz did to their game from last night to tonight. So thank you, Will, for the contribution.
All right, Bernard Richardson, thank you for your contribution. Fellas, I'm fully out the window tonight. There's no team in the league that I fear going into a game. Teams should be terrified to play us, full stop. Down 3 starters. Down 3 starters from game 1. Yes, agreed. But
I was waiting for it. This is going to clarify. This is going to clarify.
The starter is Hartenstein, guys. We got to get used to that. But yeah, look, I don't fear anybody either. I mean, well, I can't say that because the Clippers are really scary, and the Celtics at full steam ahead. They're a machine when they're at full strength. So but that's, to me, that's the only 2 teams that I'm worried about. I think the Clippers and the Celtics are the class of the league right now. I think you give us 7 games against the Thunder, you give us 7 games against the Wolves, you give us 7 games against the Bucks, the Sixers, the Cavaliers, the Suns, any of those teams, I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. So this team, to me, right now, they're not inner circle title contender, because they're title contenders. They're not title favorites. I think the favorites right now would be the Clippers and the Celtics. But right outside of that, the Knicks are right there. The Knicks are right there in that title contender range right now. So yeah, I'm afraid of nobody. Listen, they got to come and they got to see Hartenstein and and OG Anunoby on defense. They got to go, avail their chest to Julius Randle. They got to go get pump faked and pivot stepped to oblivion by Jalen Brunson. They got to worry about DiVincenzo. They got to worry about Josh Hart turning into Ahmad Bradshaw on fast breaks. Like, they have to worry about that. So as much as one of the things that I love to say is, like, they got to play us too. We may have to play the Celtics, but they got to play the Knicks. We may have to play the Bucks, but they have to play the Knicks. And I think we should be proud that, yeah, that's a tough team over there, but our guys aren't slouches either. And I'm not going into anything with a pessimistic outview. I think the Knicks can beat anybody. Absolutely.
Yeah. You bring up the Clippers and you bring up the Celtics. I'm just going to give an advanced stats check for a second. So the Celtics are currently number 1 in net rating at 9.5. But that's their net rating. The Thunder are currently second in net rating at 7.9. Now the Clippers, they're growing. They're jumping with the Knicks. They're 5th at 5.9. The Philadelphia 76ers are at 6.9 is their net rating on the season. The Knicks are right behind them in 4th place. So while we jump the Sixers for the 3 seed and may be able to put a 1-game cushion based on what happens in Golden State tonight, because the Knicks were able to win by double digits, if the Warriors could take care of business in the second half, there's a chance that the Knicks are 3rd in net rating in the entire sport. That's what I'm saying. Enjoy it now, because there will be, I'm not to be a Debbie Downer, there will be moments where they struggle. I'm expecting there to be. Maybe they do.
Yeah,
just
they're not going to win out
the rest of the year. Who knows? But like, there will be moments where we're like, oh, this is what it looks like when this team struggles. And we need to be prepared for that. But also we need to enjoy when they're really not struggling at the moment. So would that be cool if they ended up in 3rd in net rating in like 24 hours? So, all right. The non-diet version of Stephen Clay, please take care of business in the second half. I'm not rooting for that. Thank you for Bernard for the super chat.
All right, here we go. We got Armand Berdenage. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not too sure. Thank you for your contribution. Most fun I've had watching the Knicks since the 90s. If this team is fully healthy in the playoffs, look out. I mean, yeah. I think the last time the Knicks had a January or a month as good as they've had this season is like 95, I think
95, yeah.
So yeah, that checks out. The stats are right there with you. The Knicks are as good as they've been since the 1990s. And if this team is fully healthy, and boy, oh boy, if this team is fully healthy, oh man, I'm at the point where I think we're going to host at least 2 playoff series. And that would be wild to think about. But yeah, I think, listen, look out. A lot of it is the same stuff. There's nobody we fear. There's nobody that we can't beat in a 7-game series. All we need is a little bit of luck to go our way and for the guys to do what they've continued to do, which is show up every single night. And if I have a team that shows up every single night and has a superstar on their team, the way the New York Knicks do with Jalen Brunson and the rest of that crew, I'm not afraid of anybody, because my superstar can go supernova and my team is not going to let him down. So I'm right there with you.
I agree. Quick non-super chat that I just noticed. Speaking of the father, son, and the Robert Cross, from my dad, who's apparently chiming in the live chat. I could be wrong. I need to research it, but I don't think the Robert Cross is how the phrase "in the name of" ends. I'll get back to you guys. Yeah, take that up the chain, Papa, Pastor Dukes, Pastor Father. And please let us know what you find out when you get back. I'm sure that there wasn't any blasphemy or sacrilege being done on this Knicks post-game show. By the way, while you're finding that out, can you talk to the big man about Julius Randle's shoulder and Precious Achiuwa's elbow and Quentin Grimes' knee and Josh Hart's knee and just the Knicks in general, that they have good health the rest of the year? We'd appreciate that. Just personally, 100%. I'd appreciate that. Amen.
Say, the Lord is still my shepherd. He still maketh me to lie down in green pastures.
Oh, wow.
Listen. I know when I lay my head down to pray, I know exactly who I'm talking to. So
exactly. Robert Cross. I'll read a couple. Brandon Kohler, thank you for the contribution. Watching the joy the Knicks are playing with, especially the Villanova trio, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson together, is genuinely making me happy as a fan. I find myself smiling from ear to ear. It's a fun group to root for, man. I know the vibes after Quick and RJ were traded was like the heart of this team, or one of the reasons that I fell for this team, or two of the reasons that I fell for this team were gone. Winning cures everything. And I think that wound, and this is the fun part about the modern NBA. they didn't they didn't die. Like, we went and watched them in Toronto. I watched the Raptors a ton now. I still get to watch Quickly in the role I always wanted him to. RJ in transition getting to flourish. Like, the Knicks being elite and still getting to watch. Like, Obi is coming in the other night, and we're still able to watch him with more of an offensive leash than what he had with the Knicks. Like, we're able to have our cake and eat it too, it feels like. I don't know how you feel, Mensa.
Yeah, the vibes were in the toilet for like 48 hours, but they rebounded like Mitchell Robinson in November. And listen, I'm sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, well, maybe, sorry, I was taking a drink and Mensa was really funny. So go ahead.
The way I look at it is the Toronto Raptors are now the Toronto spinoff Knicks, and the actual New York Knicks are in the thick of things. So the vibes are at an all-time high. Listen, it was hard to deal with. And then this team just decided, you know what? We're just not going to lose. We're going to lose 2 games this month, and we're going to see how you like it. And turns out I love it. So, hey, RJ and Emmanuel, Quickly, you guys meant the world to me. But this New York Knicks team is awesome, and I still got love for you guys. But I am enjoying the hell out of the New York Knicks that exists without you. And it has nothing to do with you. It's just, this is a great basketball team, and I'm happy to watch them.
So, quick quote I want to read from Jazz coach Will Hardy that'll make you happy, Mensa. So, Jazz coach Will Hardy on Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't live in this media market. I don't know how much he's talked about, but watching him on film, his value's unbelievable. The guy's everywhere, even the ones he doesn't get. He's occupying so many people on the glass. He's relentless. You have to match that on every single possession. And on the one time you slip up, he taps it back out, or he gets the rebound.
Will Hardy,
you're starting center, Mensa.
That guy's going places. I don't know about you, but that guy knows ball, clearly.
Knows ball. I was about to say, that's going to be what you say. That's
Knower
the evaluation
of ball.
here. Knower of ball, Will Hardy. Your thoughts on the minutes restriction that he apparently confirmed today to Fred Katz?
Worried because an Achilles is nothing to play with, especially as a Jets fan. I don't want to hear that word for like. I don't want to hear that word for a while. But yeah, I'm happy that the Knicks are implementing a minutes restriction because we need him for the postseason. I'm very much looking forward to 48 minutes of hell, sponsored by Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. But in order for those 48 minutes to be sponsored, we need them to be healthy. And it had a lot to do. I was really worried about OG Anunoby because I'm like, this guy is not a guy who's been durable throughout his career. I know the Toronto Raptors fans say that it's been a lot of freak accidents, but still, you don't just throw that guy in for 43 minutes a night on January 13th. You just don't do that. And then he came to the Knicks and had no braces. Then he started to wear an elbow brace, and now he's out with elbow soreness, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's just the minutes load for me has been a point of contention. I understand, but here's the thing. It's easy to point the finger at Tibbs, and he's not blameless in this.
Not at all.
When you have players that good and their bench, like the bench guys, Josh Hart was struggling for a little while. Precious couldn't play basketball for 2 weeks. Like, you're going to rely on your good players to win you games. So it's a little bit of both. The bench has been thin behind them, and they're also really good. So it was kind of like the worst of both worlds for a coach like Tom Thibodeau, because he's like, I'm not pulling Isaiah Hartenstein so the Precious can play 16. I'm not doing that. But now the Precious is playing better. We're seeing, and the minutes restriction is in. I'm a lot more confident that this team knows that these two guys in Isaiah Hartenstein and OG Anunoby are due to make like $200 million between the two of them. And we need to pay them that money, and they need to be healthy, in order for them to make that money. So a lot of it is good because all of Tom Thibodeau, Isaiah Hartenstein, and OG Anunoby are represented by the same agency, CAA, which is, I don't know if you've heard about CAA, but apparently they're really big with the Knicks. So they're just having that line of communication. It's not like it's warring agencies inside the building. So was worried, happy to hear that it's here, and it's something that I'm monitoring going forward.
So my 2 cents on this, like, I disagreed with or was worried about the minutes load when it was happening. I can confirm that the Hartenstein injury was an overuse injury. I can't confirm, I don't think Julius's injury was an overuse injury. He had a freak accident falling over on Jaime Jaquez Jr. trying to take a charge down by 25. I don't know how Anunoby got hurt, but I don't know that it's contributing to like the minutes are the reason why. I just like the simple math of because you're out there more, you have more opportunity for injury. Like I get that, but I think my bigger takeaway, Mensa, is the CAA of it all. The fact that Tom Thibodeau is honoring a minutes restriction and not throwing a hissy fit actually gives me not just more confidence that he's lightened the minutes load, because you've noticed he's rotating differently. Hartenstein is only like tonight he played 29 minutes. It's the closest he's gotten to 30 and over 25. He played 16 minutes last night. So if it's almost like if you average it out between the two games, that's 50 minutes, right? And then the second rotation he added, where like for 2 weeks, not Precious, OG Anunoby was playing the entire second quarter, right? And that's what was getting him to the 40 plus minutes. And he's now taking him out with 8 minutes left in the second and fourth quarter and sitting him until that 3-4 minute mark. And those 8 minutes are lowering him from 40 plus to around 33. That's what it looked like in those first two games last week until the Miami game when we noticed the elbow wrap. So I think listen, we're dealing with a madman here. That gave me a little more confidence that like, okay, we've seen what the ceiling is when you play them playoff minutes. Somebody talked to him that may or may not run his agency that used to run his agency, and they got through to him that like, okay, you had your fun, make it work with Precious Achiuwa because we can't make a trade yet. Make it work with Deuce McBride. Make it work with Quentin Grimes, who can play more than 14 minutes, right? And honestly, we got to get back to the super chats, I know, but like, not for nothing, this also gives me a little more confidence that Hartenstein and like honoring, because maybe Hartenstein's representatives went to him and were like, hey, he's got a payday coming. You can't keep overusing him. And that gives me confidence. Like, oh, so if CAA's client, they want to make sure he's okay, and potentially CAA
that's where I'm going next.
Want him to get re-signed this summer. Yeah, I wonder what team would benefit most from a CAA client getting a payday. Yep. So that actually gave me a little bit more confidence that if Tibbs is honoring that, and it's not just like a Roldis Chapman using as many pitches as he can out of him in the playoffs, that maybe there is like optimism that he's going to re-sign this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I was thinking about is, what if the guys at CEA were like, listen, if you want the rest of our clients to come here like we said they would, you got to stop playing these guys so much, because Anunoby and Hartenstein are, again, due for paydays. They're CAA guys, and if you're good to the mid-level CAA guys, the high-level guys might show up at some point.
Also, as you mentioned, Tom Thibodeau, CAA guy, may be looking for a new contract soon. So I think that might have had something to do with it too. So I'm glad we had that. We talked it out though, because that I think was my hearing the confirmation of the minutes limit, and not just that, the honoring of the minutes limit was like, oh, this feels like bigger forces were involved here. So shout out to creative artist agents. What's it called?
Yeah, I think creative artist agency.
I'm probably wrong, but regardless, shout out to CAA. I know nepotism is a thing and that we should be against, but it kind of works for me right now, so I'll take it. Hush Zoo. I was not sold on Precious, but credit to him, honestly. He found himself a great role in this and plays his butt off. New York born too, which is a bonus. Let's go Knicks. From the Bronx, right?
I think he was born in Nigeria and immigrated to the Bronx, but he represents the Bronx for sure.
BX. He is, like you said, Nigeria. And yeah, family settled in the Bronx, New York. Went to Our Savior. Oh, I know that's cool. Our Savior Lutheran in the Bronx. Okay. Well, shout out Precious Achiuwa. I'm glad we replaced Obi, a local kid, with Precious, a local kid, and can apparently place him back up four too. Shout out Precious Achiuwa. Next up, Christopher Halecki. This team is so deep. I am in awe of the talent. I agree. Shout out to you, Christopher.
Just 100%. Like, yep. There's nothing else to add to that one. I agree with you 100%.
They're on their third and fourth center in the rotation at the moment, and they're like contributing well. Jericho Sims looks great, which makes you wonder why I didn't play for like 3-4 weeks for some reason. It's like you can only start or you cannot play at all.
The only 13 minutes is a starter or nothing. Take it or leave it, kid.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And now you see him like actually make contributions against backups. Anyway, Juan Cruz. Got to get Precious in that montage. I am not erasing Emmanuel quickly that quickly. No pun intended. But if he can experience some playoff success, maybe the remix of the montage has multiple. I've thought about doing that. Is like having Obi next to Amari, having Anunoby, Sprewell, and J.R. Smith next to each other as the 3 number 8s. You know, what do you think, Mensa?
That would be really fun. It's hard for me to see that number 5 and it not be quickly. So I think there was just a little bit of that, like, I guess, emotional reaction to him. But listen, if he's going to keep playing like this, and maybe we don't need a backup forward. Maybe when it's playoff time, he does have a spot in the rotation. Maybe he can give you 10 minutes. Maybe he doesn't give you anything because he's a rookie player. He's on a rookie contract and this is his 3rd team. And honestly, maybe some of that 3rd team rookie contract stuff might be overblown because he was traded for Kyle Lowry when the Heat thought Kyle Lowry was a good basketball player. So I don't think he was just a throw-in giveaway for the Miami Heat. Excuse me. But yeah, this is a good basketball player, or is showing himself to be a good basketball player. Jury's still out because he hasn't been great for his career, but he's given us good minutes. I think that's very valuable.
So I'm being told that Dirty Dancers in the chat saying take Novak out while I'm at it. Who's the other number 16 you want? There's literally no other number 16 for like it's Farron Hunt and like John Warren and Bill Smith and like he's actually the best number 16 in the monster. For those who don't know that because you're listening, before every YouTube stream that we do, there's a montage that counts down from 25 to 1, and it's different Knicks that wore each number. So that's why I chose Steve Novak for 16 because there is no other number 16. So that's why I have Steve Novak at number 16. Maybe someone should. Whoever wants to come here, the next big trade that they make, wear number 16 so I can eventually get Steve Novak out. So next up, I'll let you read a bunch, Mensa. We got 30 left, so we can.
We're going to be here
through these if we want. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Perry G, thank you for your contribution. Dante DiVincenzo, a.k.a. Super Splash Bro, a.k.a. my cousin Dante, a.k.a. the makings of a varsity athlete, a.k.a. the Big Scungelly, a.k.a. the Big Ragu is okay, yeah, that's probably nothing. Yeah, no, listen, I'm calling him Carbone DiVincenzo until proven otherwise. So, yeah, shout out to Dante DiVincenzo tonight.
Yes, big game from Dante. Next up.
Right,
good Bernard. Dante, not evil Dante.
Yes. Thank you, Bernard Richardson, for your contribution. We have, there has to be something to DDV spending time in Golden State. The release is so pure and consistent. They thought the 3rd Splash Brother was Poole. I mean, look, if the 3rd Splash Brother turns out to be a New York Knick by the name of Dante DiVincenzo, I will sign up for that, and good for us. We don't have to worry about signing him for anything for another 4 years. So, yeah, great signing by the New York Knicks. Love it.
And he plays defense. Like the Fournier shooting that he was supposed to bring here, you're getting that from Dante, except better and more creation and can play defense.
Yeah,
so it's such amazing. A good signing, Mensa. That just bravo to the front office.
It's very rare when you get a guy, and I think maybe EPM is out by now, but last I checked, he was 80th percentile. It's very rare to get an 88th percentile offensive basketball player who operates strictly out of the catch and shoot the way Dante DiVincenzo does. Most of those guys that are high in EPM are ball dominant players. For him to be able to be as impactful as he is off the ball is nothing short of excellent. So great signing by the New York Knicks, and we are seeing the value tonight.
Officially, by the way, he is in the 80th percentile in EPM, staring right at it. 1.2 EPM on the season. Thank you, Bernard. Dan Hidalgo.
Dan Hidalgo, thank you for your contribution. No Julius Randle, no OG, no problem. Baptize my 3-year-old niece into the Knicks fam tonight at the Garden. Let's effing go Knicks. I'm right there with you. That is beautiful. We need the kids. The Knicks are for the kids, like the Wu-Tang Clan, right? So we need the New York Knicks to have generations of Knicks fans, and I'm currently working on my 2-month-old son to be a Knicks fan. He may not be able to speak yet. He may not be able to see that far because distance and color and all that stuff comes later down the line. But he knows that he is a New York Knicks fan right now because his dad is a Knicks fan. I'm right there with you. That's great uncling by you, Mr. Dan Hidalgo.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to you know what with.
But they're also for the children.
Yes. And just make sure remember to diversify your bonds. Thank you, Dan Hidalgo. We're gonna eventually end up at just Chappelle references the rest of the show. Mensa, I can already see it coming.
It's coming.
Bernard Richardson, his whole super chat is just Leon Rose. Agree.
Agreed.
Let's agree. There you go. Thank you, Bernard. From Jessica Clarice Elsner, thank you for the contribution. Tibbs Culture for fire emojis. Hashtag jump out the window. Hashtag third seed, bitches.
Yes, sir. 3C, we right there. Thank you, Jess. We appreciate it.
Tibbs Culture right at it, by the way.
We are building around the coach.
Philly is down 9. Well, we are building around the coach, but Philly is down 9 in the third quarter to Golden State. So may have a 1-game lead on the 3 seed if the score holds for the rest of the night.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Listen, Tibbs can be a habitual line stepper sometimes, but he's the best coach they've had since Jeff Van Gundy. So shout out to Tom Thibodeau in that sense. Thank you, Jessica. Next up, Armand Berdinaj. Thank you for the contributions. If the Knicks win this year, I'll welcome our alien overlords. Cue the dancing. There we go.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd seen that sentiment going around the internet today. That look, if the Knicks win a championship, aliens could come. I've seen it all. I mean, look, I still haven't seen my New York Mets win a championship or my New York Jets, so I need the aliens to hold off for a little bit. But hey, if the Knicks win a championship, I'll be right there with you guys dancing in the streets.
I'll be right there with you as well. And the aliens would come here, and if they said that they not even the Mets, they're not going to wait for the Mets to win a title because they're just like, man, we have to wait for this to happen, this to actually work out. And the Jets, don't get me started.
Yeah, forget about it.
Only reason they'd come here is because they think they know our quarterback knows that they exist in the conspiracy theories that he believes in. Thank you, Armand, for the contribution. Next up, Anthony Sixto. We had the Mexican Mush, the Claudio Curse 1, 2, and 3. Now we have the Jeremy Jam will bring us to the ECF. Knicks aren't just good. They're going to be good for a while. I agree.
Yep. Sustainable culture. Sustainable. This team is built around a player who is 27 years old, 28 in, I believe, August. So we got a lot more coming. This isn't a one-off season. This doesn't feel like the We Here year where you kind of felt like the other shoe was going to drop. This isn't the 2013 season where it was Melo and a bunch of dudes that were 37 and older. This is a team that is built the right way and has a ton of assets to continue to be sustainably great. So right there with you.
Next up, again from Jessica, you can read this one.
All right, Jessica Elsner, thank you for the contribution. Jalen Brunson equals superstar, agreed. Julius Randle equals superstar, not quite there, but I'll give you it for tonight.
All-star, let's do that.
All-star. All right, Tibbs equals Lord of the Rings. Hashtag my precious.
Give me your Gollum. Give me your Gollum impersonation.
I don't have one. I'm sorry. I don't think my
voice precious.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I know my strengths in life, and that is not one of them. So that's a great impersonation. I'm not there. But yeah, Tibbs is a great coach. Let's get him one ring, and then maybe if he's Lord of the Ring, it'll be the heaviest ring in NBA history. Because this Knicks ring has been, it's been coming for a long time.
I don't know if we're ready for a world where Tom Thibodeau won the Knicks a championship, and we have to work with John Macker every day.
Oh no.
No. Saying it, okay? It has to be said. I love all the people involved in what I just said.
Honestly, I think if Tom Thibodeau wins a championship, that would be the most profanity-laced Macri rant of all time, cursing at everybody.
Drew and PR would just be like, I quit. Like, there's no fixing this.
There's nothing I can do.
He literally told every single super chat, thank you for the contribution. Go to hell. And it just even people that are saying, we love Tibbs. You didn't love as much as I did. Go to hell. Listen, again, warts and all, he's a habitual line stepper, but I recognize what he's brought to this team. This is the beauty of the pregame pod, which to people wondering where the pregame pod's been the last 2 days, if people honored their commitments, then there would have been pregame pods the last 2 days. But also having said that, being able to talk to other fan bases and hearing like complaints about Spoelstra and complaints about Steve Kerr and complaints about Nick Nurse and all these other coaches that people here say, like, if we had X coach, we'd never complain about him. It's like, no, you complain about everyone because humans are fallible. Like, Tibbs isn't perfect. I wanted him to pull the starters with 5 minutes left. You take the good with the bad. This was a Tibbs effort tonight that I'll take it because it led to a Knicks victory.
Yeah, the thing about coaches is they're so like their decision making is so visible where like they're being like every decision to like that they make is more, I want to say, not necessarily important, but the decisions they make, I guess, are so few and far between where it's like, I'm pulling this guy, I'm putting this guy in, like, every time a coach makes a decision, whereas with a player like Julius Randle or Jalen Brunson will take 25 shots and you don't remember the 1 or 2 bad shots they take. So it's easier to see when a coach is making a mistake, but at the same time, Tom Thibodeau has come here and the worst we've been is 37 wins. So listen, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Tom Thibodeau is a very good coach. There was a guy who wrote that Tom Thibodeau was a top 5 coach in the league, and we all thought Jonathan Macker ghost wrote it for him. I think over at NBC Chicago. But listen, Tom Thibodeau is earning his stripes. At this point, I think I want to say that maybe he should be coaching the All-Star game. I think we're at that point. 3 seed. Maybe Missoula gets it. Who knows? But
no, it's by record.
I thought it was just like they just choose.
It's by record. No, it's by record. So basically, but you can't do it back-to-back years is the thing.
Okay.
So
Missoula didn't coach last year.
Ironically, as of right now, it would be Doc Rivers.
It would go to Doc even though he just got hired?
He's the head coach of the team. So do you want to know where this comes from? You know who coached the All-Star game in 2016 for the East? Ty Lue, because he took over for David Blatt.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess it's Doc Rivers. That's boring. Whatever. Well, maybe look, we're 1.5 games behind them.
There you go. Could you imagine Tibbs like yelling Jesus effing Christ during the All-Star game? Get back on defense. It's like, Tibbs, this is the All-Star game. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, take a chill pill, sir.
Like Jason Tatum plays 45 minutes in an All-Star game. He's like out there running pistol sets. It's like, bro, we're here to play pickup for 2 hours.
But you see, that's the strength of it. You get Tom Thibodeau to coach the All-Star game, and all of the non-Knicks play all the minutes.
Randle and Brunson. Well, obviously Randle, but Brunson plays 6 minutes and just like it's more cardio.
And Tyrese Halliburton plays the other 42.
Hallie, Giannis, Dame, Tatum, and Donovan Mitchell, and Embiid. He'll find a way to get 6 guys on the court, and they're all he's just going to overplay all of them. There you go. Thank you, Jessica. And I this is for the chat. Mal Brussels. That's my Gollum.
Wow, that's amazing stuff.
Thank you. Man of many talents. That happens to be one of them. Ben Kim Garvey, Merry Tipsmas, and a happy St. Hartensteins to all.
Agreed.
Beautiful. You're up.
All right, Charlie Boy the Third. Thank you for your contribution. I love this team. Enough said. Agreed.
I love this team as well. There you go. You read a couple.
All right, here we go. Kevin Danishevsky. Now on hashtag 53 wins pace will be sacrificed star J wink emoji. Also to continue the troll, worst people, those about the DDV signing or those about the Joe Mauer Hall of Fame. This is one for you, Andrew. I'm not going to address the RJ Barrett stuff because he's not on this team anymore. But yeah, Dante DiVincenzo or Joe Mauer in the Hall of Fame, to the Hall of Fame.
Dante DiVincenzo is a great signing. What about those people? Like they agree with.
I think he meant those who complain about the Dante DiVincenzo signing or those who complained about the Joe Mauer Hall of Fame induction.
Who's complained about Joe Mauer? Joe Mauer was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Who's complaining about that? I don't get it. Do you see
no
Mensa? Who cares about all of the power numbers that don't exist for him? Like he's a clear fire first ballot Hall of Famer, even though he is like less. I can't get through this. Whatever, Kev. Fine. I was happy about the Dante DiVincenzo signing when it happened. So that's the side of history I'm happy to be on. Not the one where we like a bunch of Kevins put Joe Mauer in the Fame on the first try. Go ahead.
I mean, but also there were concerns about the DiVincenzo signing that did rear their ugly head in the second and third month of the season. We were worried that about a minutes crunch that affected Emmanuel quickly, and DiVincenzo wasn't playing and Grimes wasn't playing.
Yeah.
So the consolidation trade did. I don't think anybody who complained about DiVincenzo complained because they thought he was a bad player. It was more like, where are you going to find the minutes? And sure enough, we had a minutes problem. So credit to the front office for realizing that and getting off of Barrett and quickly for OG Anunoby and clearing up some of these minutes problems. But when everybody's healthy, there's still the issue of how many minutes is Quentin Grimes going to play. So, I mean, look, DiVincenzo did end up mucking things up, but I'm very happy that it was him who mucked it up because he's been excellent. So, yeah, happy to be wrong about my skepticism, I guess.
Him kind of forcing all of us to be like, all right, like I love Quick. DiVincenzo's earned these minutes too, and like Grimes, that's why the minutes crunch like was understood that like across the board everybody's being shortchanged, and the consolidation, which is the ironic part about the consolidation trade, is now they're very thin. But like DiVincenzo coming here and like forcing himself into this backcourt that, as you said, might be up there as the best backcourt that the Knicks have had since the early 70s. So, yeah, just a great signing. And another thing about both Dante DiVincenzo and Emmanuel Quickly, and you and me, we're all tied with Joe Mauer for baseball playoff wins. Thank you, Kevin Danishevsky, for the contribution. Next up,
all right, John Schildkraut.
There you go.
Okay, let's do it. Is that, or is it Schild? That's Schild.
Schildkraut.
Yeah, John Schildkraut. Thank you for your contribution. This team is so much fun to root for. Everyone does their job and bust their ass. Heroes abound. Agreed. Very easy team to root for. I thought last year's bunch was very easy to root for, but this year's team might be easier. Great team. Great group of guys.
This is part of the window jump we've made tonight. I think the ceiling is higher for this year's team, which is what made last year. Look, I don't know where I ever actually landed. Them losing to the Heat felt disappointing. The Heat also felt like they were going to do that to everybody, But I also I was so happy to just be there. Like, oh, this is a competent basketball team. I think we can win a first round series, and I'll be content. Now I'm kind of with you in the fact that why is the conference finals out of play? Why can't they host 2 playoff series this year? Why can't they be a 2 or 3 seed? Why can't we have the Depoy, an all-NBA player, a first-team all-NBA player, a coach of the year candidate, and like a bunch of all-defense candidates at Hartenstein and Anunoby? Like, why is that so nuts? So that's I think what's made this year even more fun to root for,
Yeah, right there with you. These guys they rewrite their story nightly, and it's wonderful to see that, because when Julius went down, the shoe was supposed to drop. Shoe hasn't dropped. OG Anunoby's not playing. Shoe was supposed to drop. Hasn't dropped. Second night of a back-to-back, traveled from North Carolina to New York. Other team was in town already. Shoe was supposed to drop. Shoe hasn't dropped. They just continue to be the team that nobody expected them to be, and I think that's what makes them so lovable, is they rewrite who they are, redefine who they are on a nightly basis until the definition is this is just an excellent basketball team. And we're headed there. So shout out to the New York Knicks.
Indeed. You're up.
All right. Be more Corey. Thank you for the contribution. We all know the front office is just waiting for Ish Smith to demand a trade. It would make Clyde so happy if we got him. Agreed. Ish Smith, come to the New York Knicks. You're the one guy that would be a role player to demand a trade and actually people would care about, because Clyde Frazier wants you on the Knicks. And you might fill a backup point guard role for us. I don't think it's what the Knicks are technically looking for, but hey, in this world, Ish Smith is the guy.
By the way, Clyde didn't get Lauri Markkanen's name right once tonight. My man I felt so bad. This is a name he struggles every time they play. But there's a T he keeps putting in his name that just does not exist. I feel so bad that if the Knicks ever traded for Markkanen, that's the problem with doing it, is that Clyde would have to say his name every night, and a lot, because he'd be making a ton of shots and he'd get it wrong every single time. It's like when it was always Alec Burke and Reggie Bullocks. Like that. Clyde, I love you. I never changed. I felt so bad watching him tonight,
Reggie Bollocks. Okay.
Reggie Bollocks. Exactly. It was like he never could get it right. Like you love the man and what he means to us, but someone in the chat has said I majored in marketing.
Yeah.
That's very funny, Cam. Well done. Next up.
All right, Dom Cappuccini, thank you for your contribution. Knicks deserve 2 All-Stars just off the strength of their current record and standing. Great win. Let's get OG back for Indy. Let's go Knicks. Agreed. I mean, I have not a controversial, but I have like a way that I think the All-Star game could be fixed. And nobody agrees with me, and I understand it because the All-Star game is really a celebration of the players. But I think that in the Eastern and Western Conference, I think the way it should be for All-Stars is you should only be eligible for the All-Star game if you are on one of the top 8 teams in the conference, and the teams with the top 4 seeds all deserve 2 All-Stars. That's the way I look at it. Of course, there'd be exceptions, like in a situation with Denver where Jamal Murray doesn't qualify and nobody else is quite good enough. You would then give the 5th team the 2 starters or whatever. And so I agree, because the Knicks are a 3 seed. They should have 2 All-Stars. That's just how I look at it. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm by myself on that. Julius Randle should be named to the All-Star game because he's been better than pretty much every other forward not named Jaylen Brown in the Eastern Conference. The only guys at the forward spot that have been better than him are Tatum and Giannis, who are starting, and Jaylen Brown. Everybody else, you think about it, like who's there at the forward spot? Is it Paolo .50, as GMAC likes to call him? Like who's the other forward, you know? And I do think it has to be 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 3 wild card or whatever it is. But I think Julius should be named because Siakam hasn't been better. None of those guys. So I agree. The Knicks should, just off the strength of how good they've been, they should get 2 All-Stars. But just to the comment, off the strength of their record, I agree with that. It's controversial the way I look at it, but I'm with you.
I think radically doing it mid-season is tough for me. I don't hate the idea to incentivize winning by like that being you have to have your player in playoff position in order to make the All-Star team, because then it would incentivize winning. Like the reason we can't just tank is because, well, then SGA or Scotty Barnes or, you know, good player like Lauri Markkanen are not going to be eligible for an All-Star game, and that matters when it comes to, you know, the CBA and super max contracts. Paolo Banchero's not an All-Star. That's just my only hill that I'm dying on at the moment. He's just not an All-Star. I understand if you were to put a Jazz on there, I would put a Magic on there. It would be Jalen Suggs in my eyes. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think Suggs and Franz Wagner are more deserving of it.
Yep.
It's just Paolo is the face of the team, and he's just the young player that the media just wants to push as the next guy, and they do it too early. They do it a year or two too early for pretty much everybody. So Paolo's just the next guy up on that list.
Magic are 1 game over 500 at the moment. There's no like need to put him on the All-Star team. At least that's my 2 cents on it. You're up. This is literally addressed to you.
All right, here goes Robert W. Cross. Thank you for the contribution. Mensa, the NBA can't handle the truth. Your New York Knicks are championship contenders. I'm right there with you, Rob. You know I'm right there with you. I'm with you in spirit and in truth. Let's go Knicks.
Hell yeah. And shout out to Robert Cross. Missed you, buddy. Next up, I'll read this one. Ray Garcia, 14-2 in December. In January, you meant, but I know what you mean. I don't even say after the trade because OG's out. Don't matter. JR's out. Don't matter. Mitch is out. Don't matter. And on. Tibbs knows what he's doing, and this team is deep. I agree, except for 14-2 in December, but I knew what you meant. And I think that, man, 14-2.
Crazy.
This is like the Patriots. That's what the Knicks just did, like an old school Patriots season.
Crazy.
In the month of January.
Crazy what the Knicks have done in the OG Anunoby era. We are what, 14-2 in the OG Anunoby era, right?
Yeah.
Let's do.
If you include the night of the trade, which then happened,
14-3,
which is like a new version, like a new Chiefs season, you know, or what the Ravens
14,
did last year.
Let's do 14 divided by 17. Let's multiply that by 82. The Knicks are playing since the trade at a 67 win pace.
There you go.
That's
why
crazy.
It's like when you compare them to the 94 teams, like 94 team won 10 less games than
the pace they're currently on.
I have jumped out the window, obviously. I am ready for them to struggle. I want to see what the struggle looks like. Last year, when they went on that West Coast trip and the struggles reared their ugly heads after the 9-game winning streak, after the Hart trade, like that was like, okay, this is good to see what it looks like when it's bad. Now I want to see what this team looks like when it's bad. Because I want, like, the Magic game was Jalen Brunson was out. It's tough to actually conclude anything from it. The Mavericks game, like Tim Hardaway Jr. hit 8 threes. Like, what, I'm supposed to be like, let's take something out of that? The Knicks sleepwalked through 3 quarters and almost won the game. So I want to see what like they do. Like, it's why honestly the games I'm waiting for, Mensa, are right after the All-Star break. They open the first 2 games after the break with Philly and Boston. Those are the games I'm looking forward to because I want to see actually how we match up against these 2 teams and with rest attributed to it, you know?
I was just going to ask you, but I think that answers the question for me. Do you think the Knicks get to 40 wins before they get to 20 losses? They are currently at 31-17.
So then can they go 9 and can you give me 40-20? So like
yeah,
in their next 12, can they go 9-3 is what you're asking me?
Yes. Can they go 9-3 or better?
Let's do schedule talk. By the way, the Warriors are up 9 with going into the 4th quarter against the 76ers.
Yeah,
so these next 12: Indiana, LA, Memphis, Dallas, Indiana, Houston, Orlando. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Philadelphia, Boston, Detroit, New Orleans, Golden State, and then game 13 is a Sunday night. Honestly, this might be the actual barometer, is Sunday night at Cleveland in March, on March 3rd. So over these next 12 games, they get to 40-20. I mean, look, the way they're playing right now, they absolutely can. I think
they get that 20th loss before the 40th win. I think so.
I do too. And I'll do the Macker here where we're talking about 12 games. I will sign up right now for 38 and what's that? 7 more wins? Yeah, 7 and 5 in their next 12.
So that's 38-22, 16 over 500. Yeah, I'm signing for it.
I'd sign up for that right now, going into that last 22 game stretch of the season. So.
Yeah, I just want to say I really want to see a 50-win season again. It's been 10 years. I really want to see a 50-win season.
That I think is this maybe the most overreaction. That's almost a foregone conclusion in my mind now. Now maybe the injuries start to take their tax and the schedule gets more difficult, but I mean, the way they're playing at the moment, they don't lose to opponents that they're better than at the moment. So even on nights they don't have their best guys. So we'll see what happens when like Thursday's actually going to be a good test against Indiana because Indiana took Boston to the brink tonight and their offensive ceiling is outstanding. I am curious what they do against a team that tries every possession on defense. And we'll see, what they do. And if OG's back specifically, what the Knicks do on Thursday. This one's addressed to me. Al H. I know who this is. Hi, Andrew. When we got Dante, did you think he could shoot, rebound, block shots, cause havoc on defense, and cause such an intense level? Al, I first of all, it's good to hear from you, and I'm glad I confirmed that you are the person I thought you were from the last post game that you chimed in with. I didn't think that Dante would be this. Like all the things you mentioned, I didn't think he would be this impactful. I thought he would add a shooting ceiling to this team that they needed, or a shooting addition to this team that they sorely needed. But I mean, again, what he's been, we're entering into best backcourt since the 70s,
since the Rolls Royce backcourt,
right? Like we're at the point where like DiVincenzo and this Villanova connection that they've created with him and Brunson is something we haven't seen in a long time, not in my lifetime, where the 2 best shooters on the team are in the Knicks backcourt. So no, I didn't, Al, but I'm very glad that I have seen it. And I think this is, again, part of the culture that they've built here, that they identified a player that could give more and would fit the type of player that they're looking for. And he's been outstanding since he's been here. So thank you, Al.
Yeah. I don't think anybody thought Dante DiVincenzo would be that good. If they did, he probably would have made double what he got this off.
Would have made more money, indeed. Next up, like Mensa, you just froze. You good? Mensa, are you good?
I think I'm still frozen.
I still see you. You're good. Can you see me,
okay.
Mensa?
I can see you. You don't have a super chat up yet, do you?
Nope, I don't. You're good. You see Jessica?
Yes, now I see it. All right, we're great.
You got this. You can read this.
Okay, Jessica Elsner, thanks again for your contribution. Need a new sign for away teams when they enter MSG. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Yeah, listen, the Garden is no longer the place there where you go and you make a name for yourself and you hang out and you get the New York glitz and glam. Now you're coming to the Garden and you're in a dogfight if you're a good team. And if you're a bad team, you're having a short night. So this New York Knicks team has been special. And I just can't. I keep coming back to it that we should be proud of them, and they fight for themselves, they fight for the city, and they fight for us. So love these guys.
It's Public Enemy, right?
At the Terror Dome, I think so. I'm not too, like early '90s hip hop. I'm not too hip on.
Clarify in the chat. I believe that's Public Enemy. It's a good song. I believe I know exactly the song they're referring to too. But again, I've won nobody over with my lack of music knowledge here, but I do think this is Public Enemy. Yeah, people are saying it's Public Enemy. I'm glad I got one. Thank you, Jessica, for the super chat. You got this one.
All right, Matt G, thanks for the contribution. Time to reunite the Nova boys, pay the New York tax, and become the title favorite. Pick up Lowry or CP3 on buyout. Oh, I thought he was referring to.
I thought it was too.
Because I mean, we discussed it earlier. I don't think there's a price we can pay to get Mikal Bridges off the Brooklyn Nets. He would have to, and it's funny that you say he would have to go the Marbury route because I believe Marbury had to go from New Jersey to Phoenix to get to New York, and he went from Phoenix to New Jersey. You know, so he'd have to go out again to come back. And I think that if Mikal Bridges is made available, other teams will jump in front of us for him. I think Memphis wants a guy like that. I can see the Sacramento Kings wanting a guy like that. There are enough options for the Brooklyn Nets to get a good trade that they don't have to deal with the New York Knicks. And again, since 1983, so I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. But I do like CP3 or Kyle Lowry as a buyout option. So I would probably lean CP3 if he's bought out because I think Kyle Lowry is a Philly guy. Kyle Lowry is a Nick Nurse guy. Kyle Lowry is a Villanova guy where they are the only champions in Philadelphia basketball and maybe ever. I don't think 76ers won like 82, but that was a really long time ago.
83. But you're right.
So the 76ers won a championship the same year the Knicks and Nets.
Literally, made a trade. That's how far back you got to go. Exactly.
So yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath, but CP3 would be great. He's a CAA guy. And he's right at the point of his career where 15, 20 minutes a night is pretty much his max. So I would love to have him on the bench. It would kind of be like what the Heat did when they got Kyle Lowry off the bench last year and Kevin Love, where they may not have been as talented as they were before, but you could see that their minds were just as sharp as they were in their prime. So to have CP3's mind on this bench, I can just imagine what that would do for this team.
If Chris Paul can be the Knicks backup point guard, I don't even think it's realistic at the moment, but if that's the buyout guy they get, that's exactly what they need. I know it's a CAA. I just don't know if the Warriors are going to release him.
That's the thing. We don't know if I mean, he won't be a Warrior past this season because of all the luxury tax implications, but we don't know. Like they might just push and see if they can get a guy.
Man. Thank you for the thought, Matt G. CP3 is the guy that if they could get him to play 15, 20 minutes a night, I would entertain the other the contender conversation with Boston and the Clippers would get very fascinating for me. This one's for you, Mensa. Next up.
Sean with the W. Thank you for the contribution. Lowry marketing stinks. Hashtag is this your king? Yes, that is still our Finnish king. He just did not have a good game. We will continue to support him, and we are no longer taking questions. Thank you for Thank you for your understanding and sensitivity in this time of grief.
Yes, he had a bad game tonight because he's No, I'm playing. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate the contribution. This one's to me from Robert Cross. This is for, I took the lead. Legend of GMAC. Is it fair and reasonable to say that you are excited about the KFS Super Bus? Is how many of them should I reserve this spring? Robert, you reserve however many buses that you can. I believe the institution that you're at that makes you ride the bus for free. So you don't have to worry about reserving buses. There's buses reserved for you as is. Bring them to Vegas and we'll have as much fun as we possibly can. I'm not getting no damn bus, Robert.
We are crazy about our Knicks, Rob. I'm right there.
Yes,
with you.
we are. We are all crazy about our Knicks, indeed. Thank you, Robert Cross. I'll read a bunch. I always get the names that I can't pronounce. I apologize, Armand. Armand Bernanage, blowing teams if you can make creation juice. I'll stop now.
Blowing teams out is how you make creation juice. I'll stop now. Agreed.
He didn't say out.
Blowing. I'm gonna put the out there so I can feel comfortable.
Yes, we are blowing teams out at the moment. Thank you, Armand. You have another one. The only thing that worries me is Frank the Tank is rooting for us. OG gave him a dap and suddenly has elbow problem. Oh, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. That man is a mush. As somebody who finds Frank the Tank's videos entertaining, and his walk videos low-key inspiring, I agree that I don't want him rooting for anything I root for. He usually falls and crashes and burns in the worst way possible. So I'm not going to completely rule out that this is the mush that is why OG Anunoby's out for a couple games.
All I have to say about this is Drake was courtside at the Heat game, and that's when I knew that this team has some eyes on it that I probably don't want.
That's a fair point, Mensa. The Drake mush is stronger than the Frank the Tank mush, that's for sure. You got the next couple.
Okay, busy. Settle a debate. Do you think we would ever have seen Precious at the 4 if we were healthy? Absolutely not. No way in hell would we have seen Precious Achiuwa play power forward for the New York Knicks. He kind of looks like 20. I don't know, like he reminds me of like David West and Carlos Boozer of yesteryear in that role where he can give you a mid-range jumper, he can put the ball on the floor, give you one dribble, make a shot, and give you solid defense. But that power forward, the style of power forward the Precious Achiuwa is long gone. That they're a relic. They're archaic in this league. So I would have never expected to see Precious at the 4, even if he had some ability to play it.
Not for nothing, we didn't see it in Toronto. We didn't see it in Miami. That's Nick Nurse. That's Eric Spoelstra. Those are 2 good coaches. So, like, the idea that, Tibbs didn't try it, which I'm going to assume, Busy, you're just asking the question and not coming at this from that perspective. Let's also, I can't believe I'm saying this, let's pump the brakes on saying, like, the revelation of Precious Achiuwa at the 4. There will be games when his ability, non-ability to shoot hurts them because that's how better teams guard them. It's 2 really good games. I've actually enjoyed his backup 5 minutes more than these 2 games as a 4. That's me personally, Mensa.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it got to a point with Precious where somebody told him, look, Spo didn't want you, Nick Nurse didn't want you, and now Tibbs doesn't want you. There are not many coaches who can do a better job for any basketball player than those 3 right there. So maybe he's kind of like locked in. But again, it's way too early. All of the data so far has said that this guy is a center who has been inefficient, can rebound kind of well, but tonight we didn't really see that. The defense has been nice to see. All I know is that he chose a very heavy jersey to wear. That number 5 means a lot to a lot of Knicks fans. So if this is the Precious that we see going forward, maybe he has a career with maybe the Knicks re-sign him for the minimum and he takes a Deuce McBride deal or something. But as of right now, I'm just happy to see the kid playing well because anything we got from him is a plus at this point.
Next up, Haitian Ferg. Go ahead.
All right, Haitian Ferg. Why not us? Is the new KFS playoff T-shirt this year? Listen. Sign me up. Put it on a T-shirt. Put it on a flag. Put it on a hat. Put it on anything. I'm buying. I'm right there with you.
Put it on a glass. Put it on a hoodie. There you go. We'll get XJ in the lab ASAP. Thank you, Haitian Ferg.
All right, Lucas, thank you for the contribution. All the way from Australia, if I understand my currency. Here we go. Can we sneak in 5-ish minutes per game of Grimes at point guard? With all the minutes that Brunson gets and Deuce McBride being worthy of minutes, I think the answer to that is no. I also don't know if I want to see it. He's a great point of attack defender at point guard, but as far as like the offense, I'm just not buying the creation juice with him at this point in his career.
I just haven't seen it, and this is what I'm going to trust that the people behind the scenes have seen enough to know that we haven't seen it either. So, yeah, I think you need better options. I do like the way he's played in the last like 4 or 5 games, though, and maybe the Fred column that said he's in trade talks has inspired that. But He's been more aggressive. Even the shots that he misses, I think, are good process shots. And my hope is that the 5 more minutes per game is just, in general, 5 more Quentin Grimes minutes, let alone they don't need to be at the point guard. They just need to be on the court, So, and Lucas with another one.
All right. Big Sneeze Achiuwa has been surprisingly solid. LOL. Yeah. The Big Sneeze, man. The Achiuwa, because he has a little bit of dog in him. That's what we're going with.
Well done. Lucas is that's Australian currency. I got to show you a parlay he sent me. He mentioned it on the Super Chats the other night. He has an insane parlay that he put before the season with over-unders on wins. And he's like, it's going to hit. And it's like in the 5 digits of
shout out to you,
plus.
Lucas.
Shout out, Lucas. Yeah. The one he has to worry about is probably Atlanta. And even then, like, I think you're going to hit because he took the Atlanta under.
Yeah, they suck. So
yeah, because especially if they trade Murray, like that's the fear, is that you trade Murray and they get better.
I mean, yeah, because you kind of double down on what makes Trae Young better, because you're not going to get another creator, and there's a chance that boons your offense. But 27th ranked defense is 27th ranked defense. I don't know how much better they get.
I agree. He has to get under 41, so that's why I think he's safe.
Oh yeah, they're not going to go 500.
Just putting it out there that maybe they get to 5. That's the only one I would be worried about. The rest I looked at are like, yeah, I think you're good, Lucas. This is outstanding. 4 more, Mensa. We'll go back and forth. You first.
All right, here we go. Sean with the W, my guy. Shut down 7th Ave in April and Times Square in June. Hey, listen, let's do it. Let's do it. Just don't talk about Trae Young.
Please, indeed. Then from Armand, I keep getting you, Armand. I'm so sorry, I keep butchering your name, Armand Bernardage.
Apparently, you're not.
This is for actually pronouncing my name right. I'm looking at you, John. Bernardage. You're welcome, sir. I appreciate that. And I also, like, people have been getting my dad's name wrong my whole life. Like, it's Hiram, and I've heard Hiram, Edam. They dropped the H. So I empathize with the poor pronunciation of names. So I try to get it right, and I'm glad I got it right too. So thank you, Armand, for the clarification. You're up.
Okay, Sam Garcia's dad. Wrong YouTube account last post. 14-2 in January. Good work, guys, tonight, except for with the 94 Knicks slander. I'm sorry if I slandered the 94 Knicks. 94 is a very special year for me because it's the year that I was born.
Yes.
I just wasn't around to watch them play basketball. So if I underrated them, listen, you can yell at me at More Like Mensa on Twitter. I will take all the engagement I can get.
I don't know if you slandered Ray, Sam Garcia's dad. Here's the problem. The 1994 Knicks were great in 1994. You asked us how they would play against a modern NBA team where the game has just evolved significantly. It's why it's tough to compare. Like, you have to play defense now. You can't just win the fight and say, I played good defense tonight. So that's just my 2 cents on it. Ray, okay. Sam Garcia's dad, because the other one is apparently your alter ego. I'm glad that you enjoyed our work tonight, and we got one more left. And I hope that wrong YouTube account goes off with Drew, and we never see them again. There you go. And then last one from Bernard Richardson again. Keep Drake far away from our basketball team,
please.
Deal.
Please. Whoever we got to talk to, because I know you can't buy courtside seats at Madison Square Garden. They have to be given to you or something crazy like that. Whoever's giving out the tickets, please do not give them to Canadian rappers that are also from Houston and live in Los Angeles or wherever. Let's please give those tickets to Dipset or somebody.
There's one more, by the way, from Lucas.
Oh, yeah, that's hidden, brother.
Yeah. So
Atlanta under 43 or 42.5 wins, by the way. They are not getting 43
You're
wins.
going to hit. They're not getting to 40. They're getting to over 500 this year. So you're going to hit that, Lucas. Okay. Yeah, you're going to hit that parlay. Indeed. And that will wrap it up for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to an extended edition of this KFS post-game show, which turned into an after party. Again, shout out to Prize Picks and for taking care of the sponsorship and helping us pay the bills around here. Lucas with another one. He wants to let us know that worried about the Nets under of 37.5 and the Cavs over of 50.5. What do you think?
Cavs over 50.5 might be tough, but I think that they're getting healthy at the right time and they're getting ready to make a really strong post All-Star break push. So I could see them getting to 51 wins. I think that's kind of where I had them at in the offseason. Nets under 37.5. Where are they at now?
You must really believe in Ben Simmons then. The Nets
Yeah.
are 19 and 27.
No.
So they go 500 the rest of the way. They'll finish with 37 wins.
They're not going 500 the rest of the way. That's safe. That's in the bag. Don't even worry about it, brother. You just got paid. And if you have a cash out and you're worried about it, depending on the cash out, you should probably take it because it sounds like you have a big mollywop of a hit that's coming your way. So, listen, profit is profit.
Lucas, you have to send a super chat before we wrap up. Say how many legs that parlay was, because when I saw it and then when I went through each one, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna hit. So just let us know how many legs it was, because I was impressed by it. In the meantime, we're once again gonna wrap up tonight's show by thanking everybody for joining us on the KFS postgame show. Mensa, any last words before we get out of here?
8 in a row is not enough. Let's get it to 9 in a row on Thursday. Let's close in on the Milwaukee Bucks. We are 1.5 games behind the Milwaukee Bucks, ladies and gentlemen. This gravy train is not going to stop at third. We're going to get to second seed, and then at the second seed, we're going to keep that. And then we're going to host 2 playoff series. So there's a lot of playoff basketball for this team to enjoy. If you can get to a Knicks game, get to one because it's going to be great. This is a great season to be a Knicks fan. And listen, even though things look like it's built sustainably, you never know in this league. So enjoy the games, enjoy the wins while you have it. Enjoy every regular season win that you can because, listen, nobody can tell you how to fan, but I'm telling you to enjoy how to fan. So, yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah, let's do it. I believe so. I'm just gonna give one more scoreboard update. There are 5.5 minutes left, and the Sixers are down by 12 to the Golden State Warriors. I've seen the Golden State Warriors blow that lead a few times lately, so I'm not going to completely say this game is over. But there's a chance when you're hearing this, you already know the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers have the same number of losses. They're tied in the loss column, but the Knicks have 2 more wins. Alone by ourselves in the 3rd seed at the moment, Mensa.
That's excellent. Now, how's that for January? Knicks in the 3rd seed by themselves.
By the way, I just went into Luca's message. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 10-leg parlay. My goodness. It's insane. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. We got to end it the way we always end it, Mensa.